Let's get started.
Here we go. Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this. Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
For the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar
Welcome to the party.
and Simon.
Hello.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. Kamar, do we have any new patrons?
Glad you asked, Matt. No, we do not. Like and subscribe.
That adds up. That adds up.
This is the first time ever, the most popular Joe Rogan review podcast in Canada. And join the Patreon to hear about how our week is. We'll
The,
like
fir-
and subscribe.
the first time ever what?
Leave a comment.
You said this is the first time ever.
He's already coming in hot.
That we got skunked.
His first
That's-
words.
Oh, I see. Since we've been the
Thank you to all the
number one-
Patreons, past and present.
All right, Kamar, you want to go over the guest list so we can start this bad boy off?
Let's do this. We started the week off with one of my favorite people, 2105, Dr. Phil.
Mr. Mac 8 and K.
And then we came in 2106, Kid Rock. Followed by 2107, Billy Walters. Finish off the week with hometown hero 2108, Tom Green.
It's a tough one to rate now that I think I should have thought about this preemptively. Simon's jotting down some quick numbers here. Man, it's weighed down pretty heavy. I'm going to give it a 2.5, which I think might be generous.
I want to judge not by the context, but the content. I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay, well, that's 0.5 better than me, so.
I would dare say, while Simon's figuring out his score, no one will ever rate a pizza one number anymore.
I do.
You said this is 7, that's an 8,
Yeah.
it's a 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
2.1.
But your thing said 2.25, and then you lowered it.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did. Oh, 2.125. I didn't see the 1. Gotcha.
Don't you feel stupid now?
No, I really don't. All right, let's start it off, Kamar.
Yeah, we're going to start out this week with 2108, Tom Green.
Tomathan Green.
I think we've talked about people walking to buzzsaws in the past. And it was interesting a couple of times Tom really had to get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that happened later in the episode. Do you just want to jump to that right away?
No, that was just a comment on it. Really, if anyone wants to know what I think of Tom Green and his interview with Joe Rogan, listen to the last one we did, or the one before that.
What a fucking weirdo. That's not what we
First
do
of all,
here.
Nobody cares what you think of Tom Green.
Also, we don't do that where we go, well, we have previously done this guest. So if you want to know what we think about
Refer
him.
back to episode
No,
264.
Yeah, that's what had I known what episode it was,
That would've
it'd be
helped.
so much
Well,
better.
it wasn't 264.
No, but go
I can
back in the
guarantee you
catalog anyways. Tom Green, yeah, lives in Ottawa. He's exactly the same as you.
Where do you think he
He's
lives?
Exactly the same as you. I don't know what that
You think
means.
you live in Ottawa? He
Well,
lives.
I know I live in Ottawa.
Dude, Simon could be his neighbor without knowing it.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Oh no. He doesn't live outside of Ottawa.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does. That's why I just said you could be his neighbor.
Well,
and
you
not
guys
know
are
it.
you guys are living parallel lives. Sorry,
Oh, I mean, not really. I'm on
you don't have a barn.
no barn.
You don't have 200 acres.
I don't have 200.
But you have water.
I have water.
He has water.
Okay.
He has.
Are you
deer. You have
adjacent?
deer.
Are you adjacent?
I don't have wolves. I don't have bears.
What are you talking about? You played us a thing the other night where the coyotes were going
Those
fucking
were
ham.
those were coyotes.
Well, Tom Green's not the smartest, man.
Yeah, anyways,
I thought the cutest part was when Tom was like, "Yeah, I thought I was coming down here to do a spot or something, and I'm headlining the whole week." So that's a pleasant surprise. Like the esteem that Joe holds Tom does not hold himself.
It's got to be tough. I always think about this, and it's got to be tough when like some guy who's just signed $250 million deal is like, you're the inspiration for all this.
Says
Like
you-
the best.
I would not be doing this without you. And I dare say Joe cracked up a bit.
The best is the where Tom goes, yeah, you came on the show and said you just got to figure out how to monetize this, and you did. I thought that was fucking incredible.
Very candid.
The next time he like says it's because of him, I'd say, do
Cut
I
me a
get some
check.
points?
Yeah.
You know,
Bob McHenry style.
Bob
Menery.
Bob McHenry style.
I
You
put
got
all
it.
this together. No, but he and the other interesting thing is that he lived in LA or whatever for 20
18
years,
yeah.
where at any point that time he could have come back. It took the pandemic for him to realize, like, you think 5 years would be too much of being annoyed or whatever, but 20 years you just put up with something like, do I even like it here?
It's so interesting that he was like so Hollywood for a second. He married Drew Barrymore.
Barrymore,
Like
yeah.
he was like right there, ready to be like what's the equivalent of him who actually made it? You know what I'm saying? Like just this wacky fucking goofball.
You know what just dawned on me too? He's from Ottawa. Our most famous bar is named after her family, and then he marries her.
Who? What? Where?
Barrymore's.
Oh, Barrymore's. Yeah, that's named after Drew Barrymore's family.
Yeah.
That's a good tie together.
Why? I thought Drew Barrymore's
That is,
dad.
whoa!
Who's her family?
The Barrymores?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. I worked there, don't forget.
It's named. Yeah, I know, but what makes her family special?
I can't
like
remember.
before her.
I can't remember. Well, most child stars come from a famous family, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. That's what I'm asking. Like, who was her?
I don't know,
Did she have
search it.
famous
The
parents?
Barrymores, dude, look it up. Tom always acted weird, and it just
That
worked
was
for
his
him.
show. His show was him
No,
acting.
but no, I'm just talking about when we would skateboard with him, or like,
Yeah, he was a weird dude.
His comedy, he'd wear a laundry bin on his head and
Yeah.
tell jokes to it, like just absurdist and just always weird. And I think he just got stuck in being this weird guy.
I mean, it makes sense if you think about it when he was talking about how he idolized Norm.
Well, of course.
Because if you think about it, Norm was doing it very different. And so you could see why Tom was like, oh, you can just kind of do whatever the fuck you want.
And I could relate. Like, we don't have that here. This one guy who keeps coming in who's just destroying it. You know, everyone comes into the grind, but there's also 4 clubs. That was the only club. It was a different time.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, if I had known Tom was going to be on like 3 days later, I would have gone to Yuck Yucks to see my friend Byron. But my friend Byron hit me up and was like, I'm opening for Tom Green in Ottawa. Come see the show.
He'll be there again. He's there all the time.
Yeah, but he's not going to be there all the time and then on Joe Rogan the next week. I could have schmoozed and been like,
Would you have played that out?
of course I would have.
I don't think so. I think you'd have to be drunk to pull it off.
No. First of all, I have so many ins. I'd be like, you know my uncle, you recorded at his music studio, you blocked me on Twitter. I have a podcast called The Joe Rogan.
You bought my friend's painting.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's
that
what I'm
should
saying.
be
Yeah.
the-
There's so many, dude, the
Yeah,
connections.
these all could haves. I still don't imagine it happening.
See, Kamar, what you're,
I think you'd be polite, nice, joke around.
you know what Kamar forgets is that drunk will give you the courage to go up to someone. But
And do
what
it
you're,
poorly.
but yes, the content that's going to come out of that shell is very bad, and you're rarely going to get like an endorsement. So I think sober me, better chance, better shot.
He's just saying you wouldn't do it.
I would.
It's not.
Keep in mind, you're acting like I'm walking into the green room to be like, Tom, Matt, Floyd, nice to meet you. I have the no,
That's how I'm playing it out.
no,
I
no.
don't see it go
I have
wrong.
an in where I know the opening act, right? I know the guy he brought with him.
Should we try to get a Tom on this podcast?
No,
Why not?
he obviously listens to Joe Rogan.
Yeah. We could ask him to do this.
Yeah, I know Greg. I know the guy, the organized rhyme. I know big stuff. Well,
I know Howard is the guy who books him at the club.
there you go. So who do we replace? Get rid of Simon for the week,
Would we try that? We'll ask. That doesn't mean it'll happen, but
and then we draw
or
for
don't even
straws.
bother asking because you couldn't handle it.
I couldn't handle it.
I don't know. The way you're looking at me, you're not.
I just find the whole thing.
I think we
absurd,
would. Well, you got to realize once Tom Green says, "I live in the woods, there is no Bigfoot," Simon flips the table, and
What exactly is he coming? Like, is he coming on to talk about Joe Rogan?
His experience on the Joe Rogan experience
That is meta. I like that.
Okay, we'll ask him. We'll ask him.
that is podcast inception.
I mean, out of anybody, I'm the closest to him. He has a piece of my art hanging.
That's
in
what
his
it would be
trailer.
mostly about.
Yeah.
More than his experience.
More than his
Your
experience.
art.
My art. Yeah, agreed.
If he came on the show, would you present him with another
Yeah,
Yeti?
I
Yeah.
give
Oh,
him
wow.
another,
So there's incentives.
Coolest thing about getting to know Tom Green would be going to see the mammoth mule. I don't know if you saw pictures of it.
I didn't. I'm gonna look.
But
right
it's like a Clydesdale, but a donkey or a mule. I got mixed up. They kept switching back and forth. But I am assuming that's what Simon thought was the most interesting part about this podcast.
God bless Tom Green, but I thought that
now. Ooh, they're
podcast
fucking
idea was terrible.
huge.
Of course, I'm not finishing what I was trying. Like he has just been himself into success, but has no, like all these other guys. They act like but you see there's a plan, there's a machine, but he never had that, and still doesn't. Like he just freeballs it.
Come on, we are from Ottawa, so we understand that
100%.
starting on Rogers public access TV and making it to fucking MTV to marry Drew Barrymore, like
That literally is the biggest success story of all
one of the
time.
wildest come ups ever.
And now he's living in a barn, like, and that's what he wanted to be doing the whole time. at
That
any
mammoth
time.
mule is fucking crazy.
And that's
dude.
just
Those
outside
things are
Ottawa.
so
It's
big.
crazy. It's
You
crazy.
should get one. It'll keep the deer away.
You should.
I don't have room for a fucking mammoth mule.
It's amazing looking, right?
Yeah, they're very cool. He forgot to mention too that people buy like mules and donkeys, they protect their flocks.
He said that.
Did they?
Yeah, he
they
said
act as like a guard dog.
But
No, he said that multiple times.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
did he say that you have to break a mule?
Okay.
Like you have to.
Yeah, well, he was like, the mule, get up in your space, get up in your shit.
Well,
you
because
gotta.
they're so smart, is what he was
Suggesting
saying.
maybe there's telekinesis, but no, it's just it needs you to like.
Suggesting maybe there's telekinesis.
I know,
What?
it was
Easy
so
chat
weird.
GPT.
It
What happened
needs
there?
you to make it respect you.
It needs you to make you respect you.
No, it needs you to make it respect you.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I don't think that's right.
In any event, that's a cute, cool
I just love the thought of a
animal.
big mule being like, break me, daddy. I want to be broken. Like, I want to be broken.
I need to be subjugated.
Exactly, yeah.
And the giant mule only mammoth mule only eats hay. And if you think about it, most animals only eat one thing. We're the only one that mixes it up and throws it around.
Most animals do not only
Well,
eat one
they'll
thing.
eat anything.
In captivity, they eat one thing.
Panda bears only eat bamboo.
Okay, that's a very specific thing where the animal only eats one thing. Like a deer. Deer eats many different things. Most animals are omnivores, first of all, so they eat all sorts of different things.
Well, this donkey just eats hay and apples and whatever.
It's a donkey on a farm. If that donkey lived in the wild, do you think it would only
Raccoons are like
eat hay?
humans. Raccoons are the most like humans. They'll eat a varied diet. Can we agree on that?
No, many animals eat varied diets.
I wonder if raccoons have like specific houses where they're like, this guy's my style.
No, we're gonna do
this is-
Italian today.
Yeah.
Well, they totally do because raccoons come back to certain places or they make homes. Like,
Sure.
they loved our garbage so much when we lived on Clemo that they made a home in our garage. You know,
I like to think the
Couple of Jewish
raccoons are
These guys eat kosher.
the raccoons are being scavengers, and they are bringing all this to their little raccoon restaurant and turn it around.
Oh, I
in a
like
nice
that,
little
yeah.
scene, yeah. That's a movie right there.
yeah, clip it. The
Raccooing.
next Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Back to the panda bears. They're genetically made, right?
No,
Because you know
Are you
the
just, what
no,
is
they are
happening
not
here?
genetically made.
panda bears are so fucking lazy that I don't want to fuck. They like to push it on top of it, and the female can only get pregnant 28 hours out of the year. So they should take some panda bear to be the birth control. Change a woman's period like that. No? Anything?
Holy fuck! Are you on like meth or something? What is going on over there?
The mule, you want to cross.
Do you think women are going to want to take some sort of pill or injection where they can only get pregnant for 28 days of the year? You think that's...
Oh, if you go off it, you get pregnant normally. No, it might be
So
8
you're
hours.
taking a pill.
Did you say 20 days?
Yeah.
No, it's hours.
Okay.
It's literally hours. It just sounds like I don't know how that animal is they're keeping alive. I think it was
You think it was genetically? I mean,
think
I'll
so.
check for you, man. I was always
Well,
under the
it's from
assumption
China,
that
so I'm
they're
sure you're going to
real
get to the
animals.
truth. And it was a weird thing. Tom kept begging Joe to come back to Canada. And do you feel like we are clamoring for him?
No, who
I'm
gives a
sure.
shit?
I'm sure he'd sell out the ACC. Of
course he
or
would.
He'd sell out our stadium here.
I don't think he'd sell at our stadium. But if Joe,
Interesting. He would definitely sell out the smaller venue at Lansdowne than the Canadian Tire Center.
he would definitely Lansdowne, he'd sell
For
out
sure,
fucking
for sure, for
four
sure.
shows.
Well, they found evidence of pandas going back 8 million years, so they might have been genetically engineered by like the Anunnaki or
But
something.
it doesn't like
it
to fuck,
certainly wasn't.
and it can only get pregnant 8 hours a year. It's just weird. I don't look into that either. These are just facts.
I'm so sick of Joe's fucking anti-Canada campaign, and God bless Tom Green. He tried to come on and be rational about it and like explain to Joe what the hell was going on. But Joe has such predetermined opinions about Canada. He has a total fucking black spot or whatever you
No,
call
I think it's
it
just for Trudeau.
us.
The most one of the most telling moments was when Tom. I don't even think Tom was being aggressive about it. He was just like, listen, there are differences, but we're a lot the same. Like, if you really looked at the way it worked, like you'd see that it mirrored it a lot. And then Joe stops him and he goes, "What are you, like the fucking spokesperson for?" And I thought that was so telling because I was like, Joe, you got to be kidding me. If you went on someone else's podcast and they were just bad mouthing the shit out of America, you would definitely take issue and you would definitely be defending America and all.
Umbrage with it, yeah, for sure. Like Joe, listen.
Hold on, but let's offer him an olive branch. He hates the government.
Okay.
He finally said it at least, didn't he? He said, "I love Canadians. I hate the government." I'll take that.
None of us like our governments. Nobody
do.
ever
People
like
do.
their governments. They're always being fucked one way or another by their governments. He was like, it's crazy that you even have governments up there thinking of doing these things. Yeah, the people we have in power right now, you have Biden in power. You don't agree with anything he does. We're in the same situation. So I don't say I hate America and I wouldn't go there because Biden's the president. That's fucking insane. That's
I agree.
insane. And look, he's not going to come up here and nobody's going to like kidnap him and hold him for fucking ransom because he disagrees with what they're saying. You know what I mean? The whole thing is fucking crazy. It was crazy. That's what Tom was trying to tell him.
Yeah, I get it, but let's also realize, like, Joe doesn't. I mean, he hardly travels for comedy anymore. Period.
Okay, well, listen.
loves America.
If Joe stops going and doing comedy in liberal states, then I could get why he would boycott Canada. Like, this is my thing now. I'm only doing red states.
sure.
When Canada goes conservative, I'll come back. I can respect that. But he's such like a hypocrite. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. He's a super hypocrite.
And Pierre Poilievre has come along. In his defense, he's come along at a great time because he himself is a useless twat.
Useless twat. But kind of like anybody who runs against Biden, it's going to make you look good.
No, this is why I said he's come along at the perfect time because if he ran against any candidate that was like had any sort of aptitude, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd have a chance because they'd be like, "What have you done in your life?"
I think you just take his criticism of Canada personally.
I don't, 'cause I don't care.
We criticize America all the time.
I know, and that's why I don't care. Joe can criticize Canada all he wants.
Of course he can criticize Canada. He's not coming here because he thinks our government is so corrupt that it's somehow going to affect him.
No, he just had a principle.
He doesn't even have his facts straight. Like
No, our government's the worst.
the worst, but the whole like podcast thing, it was to
I
put
don't- I
more
don't- I don't know that.
Canadian content on podcast.
I'm not going to speak to that. I don't know what that was. I can't argue for or against.
You know what, man? I'm tired of it. But you're right. We insult America's government all the time. He can insult our government. I don't fucking care.
So they started talking about politics. It felt like Tom went into a buzzsaw. And so Tom pivoted, which he did a couple times.
No, hold on. I got a good point. I got something I got to say. I'm sorry.
This is
This is unprecedented.
No, it just has to be said.
Yelling from upstairs.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to get a tea. I had to get
Owning
a tea.
the room.
Listen, here's what's really crazy about it is Joe said something along the lines of like, yeah, I'm not going to come up there because you have a loopy government. Like he made it seem like our government was going to lock him up.
This is what I'm saying.
Like we have some sort of wild regime up here. That's not going to
Like
happen
the second
ever.
he steps foot in Canada, they're
Yeah.
like, right wing!
Yeah.
And they just fucking lock him up. And here's the other problem. Look, we'll get into the whole trucker thing.
I wasn't done.
But he has he has all the information wrong. Go ahead, Matt.
No, what I was going to say is this is a more important thing is he acts like he's making this stand in an attempt to change our government. Like they're somehow going to be like, Joe Rogan won't come here and perform. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you won't take your show off YouTube, even though YouTube is awful and stifling free speech within your own country. You won't take your shit down off of platforms that you know are harming like all the countries in the world. So it's such a weird stand to be like.
No, I think maybe if he felt that Canada was finna to ban the podcast, because that's what Tom suggested. So if they banned your podcast, people would freak out.
They would. Nobody was insinuating that they were going to ban his podcast.
But if you thought that, then that's why I'd be like, fuck those guys. And like you said, he doesn't have the facts straight, so that's what he could think.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's weird.
And I would think the most interesting thing that you guys might find offensive is he's openly endorsing Pierre Poilievre. Like he doesn't even endorse Trump.
And he
this
knows
way.
nothing about this guy.
Well, we
by
can't
the
pronounce
way.
his name.
No, but I'm saying like,
But that's my problem is Joe is doing the thing that's wrong with politics where he's going, this guy's common sense. And it's like, yeah, I haven't heard Pierre Poilievre. I also hate politics. I'm trying not to pay attention, but I haven't heard him exactly explain how he's going to fix the country. I've heard him say he's going to. I've heard him say,
We will be just as mad at him 8 years from now if he wins or something.
Thank you.
So Tom
Sorry, the
walks
pivot.
into the first political buzzsaw and switches to guns and starts talking about guns. And again, I think he should have been doing an off-air come hunt, but Joe not on air would ever say, yeah, okay, we'll go up there and shoot up some deer or some bear. And
Yeah, Joe
he'd be
can't.
just out of Ottawa.
Joe can't understand that there are just like there's just people are different in other places in the world. Like different, the way we all think is different.
No, but Tom was trying to explain to him that as much as you guys have Make America Great Again, we have Fuck Trudeau. Like it's everywhere. And just Joe, I don't know, didn't see it. Like maybe Tom was trying to say more people agree with Joe than don't.
No, but even guns, where he was like, we have guns. There are people that like guns, that shoot guns. It's just not the American gun culture.
No, he was very leveled, but it was. It's like if he were to bring up. He brought up these animals all they eat hay. Just to regress a bit, Tom was like, "Yeah, you wouldn't think something so big would eat all day." He's like, "Yeah, but they eat all day. A carnivore eats for 2 hours then sleeps." Anyways,
I think they were talking about grass, weren't they?
grass, gorillas, whatever.
Speaking of guns, do you know which country has the most guns per capita?
Canada.
Mexico.
Switzerland.
Interesting. Is because everyone's in the army and they all have a gun? That's what it should be.
Yeah. But they also, like, their gun culture is far different from the US. Like, everyone has a gun. They have massive festivals where everyone goes and drinks and shoots their guns, but they have very strict gun laws. So, like, their
That
gun.
makes so much sense.
So, Kamar, their gun laws are like.
I'm sure that's the same in Israel, right?
Their gun laws are like own as many guns as you want, keep them at your house. When you want to go fire them at the range, you can. But if it's illegal to keep your gun loaded.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like if someone's going to come into your home, load that fucker up, shoot them if you want. But they don't have a lot of shootings there. So it's a weird, like, it's an argument that you can have.
It's like the prohibition.
You can have a well-armed population that doesn't have to shoot each other at the rate that the U.S. does. That's all I'm saying.
But every single Canadian or every person in a country
Yeah.
should do a year
I
of
agree.
service.
Yeah.
And that would pay for the $10,000 bursary you get when you're born that they put in the low interest fixed account.
Think about it too. If the U.S., I'm so sorry, Simon, just one thing quickly. If the U.S. did that, they're not going to be so quick to send anyone to war.
And if you can't handle a gun at that state, you some people don't get to have a gun license.
You might not like this either, but Vermont is the most well-armed state in the US, and they have the least amount of shootings.
We won't like that because they're close to us.
No, what I'm saying is a lot of people don't like, you hear a lot about gun violence in the States. And what I'm saying is there is a US state, there's actually a few of them, where they are super well armed, where everyone has a gun and no one gets shot. Vermont.
I mean, most of Vermont is fucking forests, so
It doesn't matter.
their population is just
Sure. My point remains, though, is that you can have a well-armed
I
population.
feel like we got
who
Kid
don't-
Rock over here going after promoting guns.
I don't know. I have a hard time. Like, I get it. You want to be able to have guns, but there has to be some restriction, or you end up with exactly what America is now.
I agree.
And Joe fails to see that somehow. Like, I understand freedom, okay, but there has to be some like that. Look, if your country had like hardly any gun problem and there weren't like massive wars going on in inner cities, I would be like, yeah, of course, do whatever the fuck you want, more freedom. But that's not the case. Like, the example is right there and it's not going well.
But my question to you is what I just told you about Vermont, or like pick another state. And I know you're going to say it's not that populated, it's rural. That's all fine and good. But like, do you not think some of it is orchestrated?
Orchestrated?
Yeah. Like, do you not think that they are actively trying to ban guns in the States for a reason?
I was going to say in the Kid Rock episode, but the biggest problem is people with guns telling you can't have guns. That just doesn't sound right. It's too late for us because we were brought
What
up.
do you mean? Like, police have guns and you don't have a gun, and we're all okay
Well, who's the
with
police?
that? Who's the police?
A police
Simon.
can be bad. They have a gun. Like
Simon, his point is this. Just hear me out for a
holy
second.
fuck.
Just hear me out. His point is this. The government is capable of saying, look, we're going to take X amount of your dollars every year to put in the military. And we all go, yeah, because we should protect the country in case we get invaded, attacked, whatever, right? And we all agree with that. But then when you yourself are like, I would like to invest a little bit of money into protecting my own home in case you're not there to protect me. And they go, no. We got this. Don't worry. I think that's all Kamar's saying is that the
think about
government...
it, again, Kid Rock said it, but the founding fathers, it literally was that.
Yeah, I know.
There was only 500 people and everyone gets a gun because there's no reason.
And I totally agree with that at the time. And now where we are, it obviously doesn't make sense anymore because we have way too many people to operate at scale like that.
You think it'd be better in Canada if there's no guns allowed at all?
No, I don't think that at all.
Why not?
But Simon...
That's the safest way, right?
Because you still have like rural type people who want to have guns to hunt and
Or
shit.
maybe need them.
Or maybe need them. But do people need handguns in the city? I'm not so sure.
There's a place in Sweden where it's a law that someone in the group has to have a gun. And it's actually for polar bear protection. There's so many polar bears.
I am not.
I know you're not. I know.
At
I'm just
all saying that people shouldn't have guns. What I'm saying is that the system they have in the United States does not work right now. So to tout yourself as like having the
I agree,
most
yeah.
freedoms and we're doing everything great because no, you're not. You have a problem that you're not addressing. And I'm not saying that means to limit all guns, but there probably is a happy median there. You
I
know?
agree.
I'm looking at it like I've watched our government be incompetent over and over and over again. So if they made another decision on something like that, I'd question.
You can still have a rifle in Canada. There's no problem with
That's
you
what
going
Tom
out
said.
and trying to get a license and buying a rifle. And if there is a civil war or something, God forbid, you'll have protection in the form of that rifle. But what you won't be able to do is go out and buy like a fucking clip automatic rifle to protect your house.
I'm not complaining about the guns in Canada. I don't care. I don't want a gun. I've never tried to get a gun.
I mean, listen.
He's telling you there's a country that everyone has guns and it's all right. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
I think there's something to be said where
No, I know you don't know what to tell me.
there's something to be said where we recognize, like what Simon's saying is we recognize there are certain dangers in society. Like driving is a perfect example where your decisions affect the safety of others, right? So we as the public have decided we're going to test you and make sure that you are capable enough to be able to do this on a daily basis around other people. And we still have terrible drivers. It's not a perfect system. I'm not saying it's perfect, but the point is The government does that and says, listen, you can, you can't.
Joe did it last week, and I meant to mention it. They were talking about drunk driving.
Yeah.
And Joe was like, well, I just don't like them telling me what to do. What are you talking
You're
about?
in a country where they tell you what to do.
You
just look at
have-
it differently.
Yeah, I agree with Kumar.
I'm sorry, man.
Hold on. You think that people should be able to drunk drive?
They are.
They are.
If
And
there's
the only
consequences.
the only fail safe we have is that you can't do it.
No, what he's saying
That's
is,
what I said. Every car should have a breathalyzer. And then you could not drunk drive.
Okay, but you have a problem with your government dictating that there shouldn't be drunk driving. That's insane.
I think there's a problem with this government saying anything because governments are incompetent.
no, but Kumar, hold on, back up.
No.
There are
Hold
certain-
on.
Just wait. There are certain things that Joe does not have a problem with the government telling
And
you.
says they need to step in. We're calling the wolves, whatever. Yes. I
No,
agree.
but what I'm
So
saying-
he's a hypocrite.
Well, he's not a hypocrite. But the point Simon's trying to make is
Yeah,
that
he's a hypocrite.
The point Simon's trying to make is that, like, if you're going to say, I'm okay with the government locking people up for murder, right? We can all agree with that. That's a fucking, we can't
Good
have.
starting point.
We can't have murderers walking around. So that is the government saying, like, there are things that the government says you guys can't do. Or in your defense, you can do them, but there's a massive consequence, right?
If you,
like,
sorry.
you can drive drunk right now. Even in this country, you could. If you wanted to, there's nothing
You
stopping
could
you.
kill someone.
Precisely. There are consequences to it. That's the difference. Is what Simon's saying is, like, there are certain things that you can do.
Look, if you want to be angry that the government makes you wear a helmet when you ride a motorcycle, fine. I can understand fighting for that kind of freedom. You don't want them to step on your feet too much. Fine. That is not at all the same as saying, I don't want my government to be able to say that you can't drink and drive. Like, we depend on them for certain things.
But can I go back to it?
No, the government has nothing to do with the law. They make the laws, but the laws are enforced by the police and the courts.
So then the government does have something to do with
It
the
has
law.
everything to do with the law.
If you make the law, you have a lot to do with the law.
Yeah.
You are the fucking start and the finish.
But the government doesn't enforce the law.
Are you saying because it's the provincial government?
I think, again, you're wrong, though.
They do enforce the law.
Who are
The OPP.
Who are judges?
Judges they work for the
Government.
legal system. No, remember, we've gone through this.
No, you did it with
Well,
cops.
they're
I'm asking
either
about judges.
provincial-
Same in
or they're
America. There's
federal.
a judiciary. There's three forms of government. Okay, the federal court are federal judges.
Yo, are
Sure, but
we-
what about Ontario? Like, an Ontario provincial
so.
judge is an
They work for
Ontario
the provincial
provincial
court.
judge.
And
Yeah.
then there's a federal judge.
Yeah.
These are two different things. They rule over two different things. They're still part of the fucking government.
What you're saying, Kumar, is the police enforce the laws,
Yeah.
but the government upholds them. Does that make
courts,
sense?
The courts
The courts uphold them.
The governments make them. The police enforce them, and the courts.
But we decide in our country the courts are
I
definitely
don't
part
know.
of the government.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know anymore.
You don't know. Agreed.
But it's like if someone wants to complain about how it is, I couldn't get enough to complain about how much I disagree with it.
See, Simon, there's nuances though.
don't know
Like,
what that
back
means.
to your helmet thing.
Yeah.
If I live in America,
Okay.
I got to be honest, I would feel like the government is overstepping a little bit there. Just hear me out. They're looking out for your safety. I get it. You live in a country where freedom is bar none, number one. They don't have free healthcare.
I said to you, Matt, if they want to fight over helmets, I'm fine with
Fine,
that.
sure.
Make it a thing where it's only minors who have to wear helmets. And as soon as they reach a certain age, they don't have to wear that helmet anymore. The same way we do with multitudes of laws.
Sure.
I have no problem with that. But the things that those are things affecting you. You get hit by a car, you die. As soon as you start affecting other people, that's where we have the government step in to make sure that these things happen so that people aren't just out there like, I don't like this guy, I'm going to fucking off him, or this guy's in my way, I'm just going to smash into him with my car. Like, that's why we have these fucking laws.
Well, you're talking about, okay, but we're getting a little in the weeds here. Like, laws are different. Kamar's talking about freedoms versus laws. Like, I get it. If
Well,
you make
freedom to wear a helmet.
Sure.
That's a law.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, freedom
so
to not wear a helmet, you mean, I guess.
what we're debating is a law. The law to wear a helmet or to not wear a helmet, or to drunk drive or not to drunk drive. Like, I don't know how to classify that. To
And
me,
I mean-
that's all governmental shit.
And Kamar, you're forgetting too, like, we're all old now. Okay, Joe is
The
old.
same age as Joe.
Sure. Well, I'm a little bit younger, but yes, we're the same age as Joe. And Joe, we are all now like that guy in that clip that Joe plays. We are that old man who's like, what kind of communist country are we when I can't tie off a few cold ones in my truck after I get off work? Like, as things change.
We are.
Yes, we are. We are
He
that.
is not.
Okay, maybe.
He's like, I can't believe they didn't tell me to stop doing this 10 years ago.
Okay, fine, sure. But my point is, Kamar, is like, as you get older, that's just kind of how it is. Like, we are. I'll get to it in the Kid Rock one, but Joe and Kid Rock did this funny thing where they're like, no, man, conservatives are cool now. And it's like, no, asshole, you guys are just the old conservatives who think you're cool. That's not how it necessarily is. Like,
I don't know, because all the young things all lean Trump, like Nelk and all those guys are all.
that's one thing you just named.
Well, all that whole maybe not Logan Paul camp. I don't know.
The most
I bet you they're
popular
all
thing in the
Trumpers.
world is Mr. Beast. I can probably tell you which way that
He's
guy
a Biden
leans.
here. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Anyways,
No, you're making my point, Simon.
Like he watches this tiny subsect of
I know, he's
fucking
in
the
his
are you
world.
talking about me right now?
I am,
because
yeah.
we're talking about Joe Rogan, and that's where your problem starts. You disagree with Joe Rogan so much that it upsets you. That's what's happening here. Because I'm not arguing anything with you. You attack Joe, and I say, well, maybe he thinks this, and you get upset.
Okay. Anyways,
In Kamar's
let's
defense,
just
you
move
are
on.
upset with Joe. He's not wrong.
I am upset.
I know.
with
Yeah.
Joe.
I know,
I
but-
agree.
yeah.
I have to listen to this guy over and over and over a fucking again.
But Kamar's
This
point
thing
is you're taking it too personal.
It's not
like-
personal. It's
But
like,
it is, because in this episode, Joe said, I have no problem with Canadian citizens. I don't like your government, which should be right there. You going, oh, Joe's got no problem with me or the way I live my life. He just doesn't like the way our government, he feels, you're forgetting too, he feels like our government is oppressing us, which is not like a terrible thing. He's not like, Simon's so bad.
No, I just think it's one of those things like you said before, he's on YouTube. He's on all these places. He's not really taking
He's a part of the problem.
He's not taking a stand at all, except for on this Canada thing for some reason. And
Well, hold on. Let's give the guy his flowers. He is taking a stand. He spent 3 years where he didn't have to, railing on COVID and railing on all these assholes and companies and bringing people on to try to get what he thought was the truth out. He did that at a detriment to himself and potentially risking his empire. I'm just saying, you can look at it as however you want. I'm going to give the guy his flowers. He does fight the good fight, and he is here, albeit I agree with you, it is misplaced, but he is trying to fight the good fight here for us, people that are not of his country.
okay.
I thought it was interesting when Tom told the story, which might have been when his final act, he got too drunk on Jay Leno. And I guess he started getting calls, but it sounded like today that would have been a viral moment.
It was viral. Remember, he cut his desk up with a fucking chainsaw.
No, but he said it. The movie company stopped calling
Yeah.
me. Like it wasn't. Like I wonder if our sensibilities have changed so much that had he done something like that today, it would have been a massive success. And like, oh, that's great. People are going to come see the movie. He said it regretfully. Like it's sort of. I wish I hadn't done that, and fuck the guy that had him drinking before. What I enjoyed the most is when Tom got real, because he then told the real story, or not the real story, the first time that he's been living in LA for 20 years. Finally, the pandemic happens. He goes in a van. Joe gives him a hard time about that. Oh, I don't know if he does. He swung it around that Joe was finally interested in the ruins. But anyways, finally discovers after that he feels 100% Tom Green in the woods 2 hours outside Ottawa or whatever it is. I'm not trying to dox him. So now things are finally all together. I'm going to go on a vacation to Costa Rica.
Brutal.
And he tells her, I don't know if we should talk about the story. I think you should almost listen to this episode to let him tell it. But that won Joe over. You have pictures of that.
It's crazy. He nearly lost both his feet.
And I never realized that a skin graft is when they peel. I figured they took the whole fucking thing. They took a whole piece of skin off your leg, like a chunk. But they can actually take nanomillimeters of skin, and it's super fragile. But that's
So fucked.
that's so crazy.
How did that happen to him?
So apparently there was a massive fire on the beach. Like he was saying the size of Joe's studio. And I guess when they went to put it out, they just covered it with
under
sand.
the sand, right?
And then he took like a step and his feet, I guess, sunk into the sand.
So crazy.
What's crazy
And
too
he
is
was probably wasted because he said he was at a party, went back to sleep, or dazed and confused, just not.
and he said the top of his foot burnt, and I was like, that's because the sand was like boiling. Yeah, dude, that hurt. That would hurt so.
So
fucking
he's
bad.
found everything, and now he's in a hospital in Costa Rica for 2 weeks. And then he tried to just express his views on gratitude, and Joe wasn't even having any of that.
No, yeah.
As soon as he disagreed with Joe about the truckers, that fucking sent this whole thing just in a weird direction.
He still was able to bring it back with the Aztecs. Have you guys seen Never Cry Wolf, though?
No.
It's an amazing movie. Joe
Amazing
shat on it.
movie.
You just got to throw fucking something
When
at the
he
wind.
eats that mouse, that is like,
My
I
next
remember
note.
that
My
from
next
my
note.
childhood.
My next note.
That
Just-
being like
just take
the
a stab in
most
the dark. You know nothing.
crazy.
You know
What, you
nothing.
can't
No,
pick
we're
another
not
movie?
doing the movie he doesn't know.
We are.
No, we are not, because without having seen that movie, he will have zero idea of.
And that gives you too much of an opportunity to win.
You're not.
And I'm on a good run too.
We're not doing that. I'm sorry.
It's a Canadian movie. Is it Canadian? No, I don't think it's
Nah,
Canadian.
Maybe it might be Canadian. It came out right around the same time as The Dingo Ate My Baby. The, Cry
Yeah.
in the Dark or whatever the fuck it's called.
It's that. I think that's the first. That's a movie that made me grow up. Everything.
What was it called? Never Cry Wolf? Who's in it?
Never Cry Wolf, and I know what year it came out because I looked it up. But Brian Dennehy.
It's this like weird looking guy. I don't even think he was like famous at the time.
No, you know
was
who he is? He's like the bungling accountant in Untouchables.
Kamar, you both said it came out when you were kids. I'm going to say 87.
Well, we're not playing the game because
I
I
would have
put food
thought
on it.
No, but you
yeah.
guessed.
You know who I'm talking about, though?
No,
the
I don't know who
bungling
you're talking about.
accountant guy who's in the Untouchables. Like
Okay, well, I'll just look
He's
up
not
the
a
movie
shooter.
and I'll see what.
there's
who
Kevin
the guy is.
Costner.
Don't worry.
There's Andy
Andy
Garcia.
Garcia.
There's Sean Connery.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy.
Oh, the guy that was in Memento?
Exactly. He doesn't know how to use a gun. He's the guy who brings out, and that's what we're going to do. Is the movie game is Untouchables because we got there from 6 Degrees to Kevin Bacon,
100% positive we've already done that movie.
and that doesn't matter because you guys don't remember anything.
You want to do Untouchables, what we're doing?
I really want to do Never Cry Wolf, and I suggest people watch it because that's where Joe lost me.
At Never Cry Wolf. Gotcha.
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon, two rags that brings together the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JRE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game.
It's the movie game where Matt and Simon go head to head to find out what your movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office. This week we're doing The Untouchables, an American crime film, directed by Brian De Palma, who also did
Scarface.
Thank You. Written by David Mamet, who also did
Oh, David Mamet.
Magnolia, I believe.
He wrote a ton of shit.
He's awesome.
He's a playwright. Mm-hmm. Really, David Mamet wrote
Starring
this?
Kevin Costner, Charles Martin Smith, Andy Garcia, Robert De Niro, and Sean Connery. Maybe it was Charles Martin Smith. That's who I was thinking of. Yes, it was.
Show me a photo of him. Is he the guy from Memento? Am I fucking crazy? Oh, no, don't show me anything. We're in the middle of this.
And he's Canadian.
No
Because it was
way.
a Canadian movie, obviously. We're talking about Never Cry Wolf.
Oh, yeah,
This is
yeah,
Inception right now. Anyone who listens to the podcast, this is a great movie. You will love Sean Connery. You will love Robert De Niro. You'll love Andy Garcia. Oh, the scene with the baseball bat. Come on now. Or the carriage.
Simon, I'm ready. I'm all ready.
I'm ready to.
I said it came out in 92.
I said it came out in 89.
1987.
Untouchables?
Yeah, it's old.
Untouchables.
Wow. Wow. I could not have been further off there. Just a casual 5 years. All right. I said it cost $27 million and it made 140.
And I said it made 20 or cost 20 and it made 89.
Budget $25 million.
Okay, I'm $2 million off.
Box office $106.2 million.
Pretty close, man.
That's a win.
90.
89.
Yeah, you're pretty close, Simon.
That's a win, Simon.
5 and
Yeah.
10.
Yeah. I was 2 and 30.
I'm sure we've done that movie before, but that's fine.
Who gives
It's
a
all
fuck?
good.
That's the movie game.
Do you think that almost a movie game? I had one more thing because Never Cry Wolf was 1983,
Oh, that's why it came out the year I was born.
and that's the movie game.
And it's a Canadian movie, and you
Yeah.
would just have no reason to see it unless your parents had been watching it at the time. Like, I just.
Budget 11 million, box office 27.6 million.
I would have guessed somewhere around that. I would have said it cost less than 11. to
No, there's
make.
no way. If you thought it was Canadian, there's no way you would have thought 11 million.
11 million 1983 is a big budget movie.
For Canadian
It's
movie,
only
that's
probably because they had to go to the Arctic, and that costs money to film.
No,
it.
Walt Disney made it.
Walt Disney made Never Cry Wolf. No fucking way.
Interesting.
Wow, how about that?
got to have some
But
anti-Semitic something
so
in there.
sadly, because of they talked about Never Cry Wolf falling on the ice. Did you go to see that footage?
Of what, the dude?
No, the wife.
No.
Oh
no.
my god.
I don't want to see that.
Oh my god. It's oh god. Fuck. Fuck the internet. But the best part is Tom talking about his chicken. And the
that's
farmers come
hilarious.
over, and you can just imagine him on his hands, and he's why? And he's like, "Do you guys cry over the chickens?" He goes,
Not
"No."
over some dead chickens. Not over some
Unbelievable.
dead chickens. We don't.
And then keeps Loretta
That
and
was
gets
hilarious.
2 more chickens. Breaking news. And I swear to God, it had me in stitches. I was laughing out so loud, felt like somebody I knew. And
You just glazed over the ancient civilizations in America, but it is crazy that they dig up this fucking giant wall in Texas or like.
and he thinks they're trying to not promote it. And it's the same as the pyramids.
Well, they definitely are or trying not to promote it. I agree with that. Otherwise, that would be like a huge fucking deal,
you should watch Bardo again. It's all about that.
Again for the first time.
For the first time, yeah. No, I always think every day how I don't know anything about anyone's history.
Yep.
Like if I was Mexican, what I go back to, because in my head, we are here, and then you go back the generations, like Joe says, and there's some guy in a canoe living in a lodge. And then before that, I guess there's First Nations in these places. And then before that, we're underneath a mile of ice. But if I was Mexican, I don't know what I see is where I came from or existed, or any other country. I think Americans is similar to ours. But places with no...
Well, I mean, America is hilarious. Like for the longest time, Clovis, 10,000 years. That was how long ago people had been in America.
when we were kids.
Which is such a crazy concept to think. You
when we
know
were
what I
kids, that
mean?
was the science, right?
That was the science up until like 10 years ago or
No.
something. Yeah, I'm telling you.
30
like,
years ago.
Clovis was only disproven.
That
like,
is weird. I do
not long
remember. I
ago.
do remember it being big news before there's even social media that it had gone back a bit further.
a bit further, like hundreds of thousands of years further.
Is that it, Kamar? We got to move on.
Yeah, the Loretta story is hilarious, and I would recommend anybody watch it to go through the tenseness of this podcast with the release of Tom telling those stories.
I actually give this one a 4.
I give it a 4 too.
I give it a 3.5, but I thought it was really good. I thought like Tom did everything humanly possible. I thought it got a little annoying at times because Joe is just like, it wasn't even a conversation at certain points. It was Joe giving lectures and
Joe had his fangs
whatever,
out.
but it was good. I liked it. Tom is great.
Well, in closing, I got to say, remember when Matty Matheson was on?
Yes.
Yeah, so Matty Matheson, after he was on, he went,
Matty Matheson, the chef,
Yeah.
was on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
We reviewed it.
yeah.
We liked him.
I don't remember that at all.
Anyway, he got a lot of flack after his appearance because people were like, you didn't really push back on Joe's like views on Canada or
Was that still a vaccine time as well?
Yeah. So he caught a lot of flack, and I thought Tom did a great job of like never getting flustered himself and like never kind of weaning off the path. Like he was like, I'm going to tell Joe how I feel. I'm going to let him know. I'm not going to get frustrated no matter how like hard he pushed back. I don't know. I thought Tom did a great job.
I thought Tom's beauty, I kind of agree with you, was that when he felt that there was no more way to convince Joe.
Yeah, he was just like, let's move on.
He gave Joe a compliment and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
changed the subject.
Yeah.
And good for him, because Joe would have stayed on it for another hour.
It was almost like the status.
Meaning what? Because he looks at Tom.
But Joe sees Tom as like almost an equal in this thing,
I don't
broadcasting.
think he does, but yeah.
Obviously he does. I'm telling you, like, to headline the club, like Joe holds him in very high esteem. And I bet you Tom's individualism, just the way he keeps it real, Joe respects that, no matter what he disagrees with or they.
You know what? I'm not in Joe's head. I don't know what he thinks.
Perfect.
All right, moving on.
2105, Dr. Phil.
No. I thought we were doing we were going to do the gambling guy, weren't we? Isn't
No,
that what-
we were going to do Dr. Phil so that you got more time with your gambling guy, because Dr. Phil was just garbage and
Okay.
we ate
sure,
up most of the
sure,
time with Tom
sure.
Green.
Yeah, sure. I like this
You
stuff.
really threw me off there.
Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, me and Simon unfortunately had to talk about this prior to this.
We did?
Well, I walked past his street. He's like, yeah, he's opening up his own media company. Because is it about getting the truth out there, or if it really is just putting crazy people debating, like whatever, that's one thing. But if it's to make money more than anything, right?
Everything is to make money.
Dr. Phil's track record, like let's just look back. And this is the problem with this podcast, is that Joe fails to remember the time where
Cash Me Outside.
everything, his whole show has always been exploiting people. Look, it wasn't as bad as some of the other ones,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like
Do you remember when the guy from
real television.
Do you remember when he had the guy from bumfights.com on?
I do. And he
You remember
dressed
that?
as Dr. Phil.
And then Dr. Phil threw him off the show.
Fucking hilarious.
Come on,
Yeah.
the whole thing is this guy. So he's like, this guy's a terrible guy. He has this website where he makes homeless people fight, and then he does it for clicks. And I'm gonna have him on the show. And so he brings him on, and the guy comes out. He's shaved a bald patch in his head. He's wearing a suit like Dr. Phil, and he sits down, and Dr. Phil's like, "What is this? It's supposed to be some sort of joke?" And he's like, "No, I'm just here showing." He's like, "You're gonna tell people that I'm here exploiting poor people and people that have a sad story, and
You're doing the same thing.
you're doing the same thing." And Dr. Phil's like, "I'm not gonna have this. You get off my show. You can just get up and leave."
And he survived that. That sounds like an own. Who is the guy?
Oh, he's just some dude. He started
No.
bumfights.com.
Oh, so he's rich.
I'm sure Bumfights did very well.
I think he probably
yeah,
did
probably,
well
yeah.
for himself, but who fucking
He's
knows?
probably
That's not-
somebody.
That's not the point.
You're forgetting though, early internet, like it's dicey how much money was made. Like nowadays, if you have a huge website, you're making a fucking fortune. But back in the early days, you had to play it right.
And this is back when Dr. Phil had brown hair.
I don't remember.
Anyways, Dr. Phil, like, look, I get to me, Dr. Phil isn't in any way the bastion of truth out there.
No,
You know what I'm
no.
saying? And nor would I turn to his network. Like if I didn't listen to Joe Rogan
It's the same as Dr. Oz.
and I saw, well, that comes from Dr. Phil, doesn't it? Oh no, it was
No,
from
it's
Oprah,
Oprah.
but
But same thing.
Same
Didn't
diff.
Dr. Phil come from Oprah?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So it's all the same umbrella. My point, Simon, is like if it were Dr. Oz and not Dr. Phil, Joe would be all over this, like, fuck that guy. He's not even a real
yeah,
doctor,
right, yeah.
that sort of thing.
But he happens to be friends with
his
his
son,
son,
yeah.
so everything. This is what I mean. That's what I'm saying. He is not the guiding light of truth and principle. Like he's out there making money off the backs of these people and whatever. I'm not saying he shouldn't do that, but I also am saying that we don't then lift him up to this point of like sainthood.
Well, it's because him and Joe.
Sainthood, because that's not what he is. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's because him and Joe line up ideologically, right? That's why he's on the show too.
For
like,
now, I really think that Dr. Phil has probably flip-flopped his view a billion times over the year. You know
From
what?
Oprah
I
to
don't.
Joe. That's interesting because they're both.
I'd like to know Dr. Phil's stance
Joe
on
Rogan
weed.
is Oprah for guys.
Sorry.
I'd like to know Dr. Phil's stance on marijuana.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know on his show he's told people not to use
Yeah,
marijuana.
of course. I think you'd be against it. For youth, at least.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, I just
Bad
found,
for the
I
family.
found this
Fabric of the family.
episode insanely annoying.
This is one of those episodes where a few times I accidentally went back to one time and you're like, oh my, I couldn't make it through this.
This is how this guy talks.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, he's having Adam Ray on as Dr. Phil. This is going to be the best episode ever.
It's like a virtual signaling thing because I think with any,
Whoa.
any
Say
of these
that again.
virtual signaling thing.
No. One more time.
Virtual signaling thing.
Is it virtue?
Are you sure it's virtual?
Virtual.
No, I'm pretty sure it's virtue
No,
signaling.
I'm just trying to be serious here.
He's got his AR headset on. No, I'm virtual signaling.
I'm signaling through my Apple
It's
Vision.
a virtual signaling thing. Because if I had any of these people's money, like he's saying, look, Joe, I've just had enough. Something has to be done. But I'd just be living my life. Like this pursuit of putting together the network to put all this together. Like it in the twilight of my career, it seems like it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and if I thought for one
That's weird.
second,
You think Donald Trump should run for president?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
No, I don't.
I've never said he could.
Okay. But he did. He ran for president.
And so he's running. I think he's a person who should win. But if he bowed out, I would be like, oh no,
Okay, that makes
hope
sense.
is gone.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah,
we going to do? Because again, it's not my president. I still don't care.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I look at that. I agree with you. Like, I always look at people that age and I'm like, why are you still hustling so fucking hard? Like, you have so
I
much
don't
money.
get it.
Go sit on a beach.
I don't get the Pope. Like, just take it off.
listen, I get that there are people out there who make their nut and then feel like they have to give back to the world, or if like they see something going on, an injustice that they feel like they have to right. But has that been like Dr. Phil's MO?
It is now, apparently.
Okay, and maybe he'll prove me wrong and his network will be something that is like, and if that's the case, then donate all the fucking earnings to these people you're trying to help, you know?
My whole thing with Dr. Phil is like, no matter, let's say he is as altruistic as he proposes to be. At the end of the day, for me, I feel like everything he's done to try to make the world a better place as truly was all undone with Danielle Brigate.
I think he's only trying to make.
Who's Danielle Brigate? Is that
baby.
Cash Me Outside?
Cash me outside.
I think he's just trying to make America a better place.
No, I'm not saying he's not. My point though is like, through all of his efforts, at the end of the day, the thing that he's known for the most is this obnoxious fucking 15-year-old white girl who, at the end of the day, her obnoxiousness made her probably richer than Dr. Phil. I bet she's got more money than Dr.
It's
Phil.
so the reward of behavior.
1,000% has more money than Dr. Phil.
I don't think so.
Oh my God.
I would say they're
Oh my
probably
God.
equals.
We're going to check right
I
now.
don't think she, like Dr. Phil is asking her for.
No, but even then,
right
like
now.
even
marker.
even for them to be equal, Kamar speaks volumes about the world we live in now. Where like, if he's an actual doctor, right?
No, I don't think so. And that I could be
Because when Joe was
mistaken.
like, residency's hard, he was like, yeah, I've heard that.
Well, no,
like a bag of sand.
he said when I did my psychological internship,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think he's like a medical
Yeah.
doctor. I could be wrong though.
I really want to know who's got more money now. I'm fucking dying to know.
Yeah,
It's got to
it's
be
coming,
her.
it's coming.
She's got tits. It's got to be her.
Not to be inflammatory, but they were talking about how a kid should be able to go tell his teacher that it's coming out or whatever, or they want, you don't have to tell the parent.
Mm-hmm.
If the 12-year-old says, I'm a boy, born a girl, and I don't want you to tell my parents, I think that should be directed to the guidance counselor, and they should be trained for that. But just saying all teachers have a better bond with the student, I think that's teachers playing God. So I agree with them there.
I would agree with you, Kamar. So the problem is, I don't know if you saw this, Texas just changed the laws where like school. So to be a school counselor, you used to have a master's degree and you used to have to do X, Y, and Z. You couldn't, like, I didn't know. I had no idea that being a school counselor was like this fucking super high learned thing.
I think
Anyway,
that'd be a sweet position.
they changed it in Texas. Now you just have to be like what is it? Is it a deacon? I can't remember. But I saw this Texas guy grilling some fucking guy that passed the law, and he's like, what is a deacon? Like what? Either way, it's crazy.
Kamar was right. Bad Baby 50 million,
Dr. Phil 100.
95 million.
Oh no, she's coming up.
But in 1 year, as opposed
Yeah,
to
a
Dr.
lifetime.
Phil has been on for
This is my
30
point.
And
years.
if
you know?
this Merit Street media goes, then it's going to be a whole different ballgame.
No,
he
and-
might have to
and-
get her to have her own show.
And listen, I don't think it's fair to judge Dr. Phil by that one thing, by Bad Baby. Okay. But if you go back and look through his Rolodex of shows, I bet you find more that are like Jerry Springer than more like I can't even think of somebody who actually helps people on television because it never happens. You know what I mean?
Simon, I'm not judging Dr. Phil. What I'm saying though is track record wise, what I'm saying is like if he was out there to do good, he did more. That show ended up doing more harm for the world than it ever did good.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so.
I'm just saying it more than any show I can think of put on the forefront that you can be the trashiest piece of shit possible, and you have a chance of becoming a 50 millionaire.
100%, Matt, 100%. And if Dr. Phil really wanted to help humanity,
I would have not released it.
Well, I mean, it's too late for that, but he should spend the rest of his career trying to show that is the absolute wrong way to go.
Yeah.
And he just spends all his time telling people how not to be Bad Baby. You know what I'm saying? Not out there looking for a new network. Like to me, this sounded like me being the jaded guy that I am.
Yeah.
I was like, well, he's lost all his audience on his normal Dr. Phil show, and he's trying to figure out another way to make it relevant. And to do that, he has to get onto his own network, but he can't support his own network by himself. So he has to and again, that's just me jaded. Maybe he's a great guy who's only out there, and at the end of his career, he wants to be altruistic and go out helping the world with his $95 million. But if that was the case, then you do all this for free.
I was just thinking too, like as I said that, they probably never thought, like when they watched the recording of that, I bet they never thought anything of it. Like Cash Me Outside. You know what I mean? Like
it was just another fucking episode.
I know, that's why.
No, I bet you
100%.
No way. No
Oh my
way.
God. You can go back. Kamar, I don't even watch Dr. Phil, and I know that you can go back and find another episode where somebody was a terrible kid who talked badly to Dr. Phil. They just didn't end up with a catchphrase, and it didn't happen at the time where things went viral.
No, but I'm talking about the people in the producers of the show, like, oh, this is going to be good.
No, I guarantee you.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I bet they were like, this is going to be good, not this is going to be one of the most viral clips of all time.
I don't
good. No fucking
because
way.
that was like the first thing like that was viral like that, where
I don't know about the first, but it
one
was,
sentence makes a fucking person's whole career.
I bet you someone called her. I saw you on Dr. Phil. I want to represent you. I think you'd be a millionaire. Someone saw it.
Yeah,
Someone saw it.
after it blew
the
up.
fact, not before she was on there.
But when they put this out, they would be like, oh, we'll probably get
She wasn't like, I'm going to go on there
The
and say
producers-
this thing and get famous. I don't think that's
the
what happened.
producers put out. It averages 100 views, 100,000 views, 100 units, whatever, an episode. This is just another one. Yeah, maybe.
Units. I hate it. I hate it.
You hate everything, Simon. If you are trying to sneak into America, look for the green uniforms. It was a teachable moment.
Again, I don't believe a goddamn word that Dr. Phil says.
When he talked about presentism, because that's the thing Dr. Phil does is
Wait, hold on.
invents words.
Coins words.
Hold on. I just got hit with something crazy. I'm sorry, this is totally off topic. I have to do it though. Andrew Callahan got arrested for coming over the border.
Got arrested. Channel 5, Andrew Callahan got arrested for coming over the border.
Right? You saw that?
I saw it on a
Okay,
screen.
fine. The point is you saw what I saw, which was him getting arrested.
Mm-hmm.
But none of those other people coming over illegally are getting arrested.
Didn't they jump back in the water? I don't want to push back in this, but
No, what I mean is like there's people walking across the border that are getting $3,000 in a cell phone. Andrew Callahan went to jail.
and didn't get his cell phone. No, because he's an American citizen.
No, I get it, but
he
I-
should have not even got arrested.
I was just thinking about the law because he was like, what am I being arrested for? And they were like, you crossed the border illegally.
That's right.
But they're all crossing illegally. No one's getting arrested.
Hey,
Like, did he get a free bus ride back to Chicago at least? Anyway, keep going.
If what they're saying is true about the border,
Yeah.
which I have no idea what to believe anymore,
Yeah.
that sounds insane. That they're just, you're walking across the border willy-nilly. You can come from anywhere. It's not like That sounds crazy to me. I don't know what country would ever be okay with having open borders.
It was happening
like that.
here. It was in the news last year, that crossing at Quebec. That was the exact same thing was happening on a much smaller scale.
Okay, well, I'm not saying we're perfect.
You just asked what country. And I said,
Well, our country then. I think that's crazy.
sorry.
No, listen, Simon. I agree, and I'm with you. Where before I watched this Andrew Callahan thing, I was like, this is just being publicized for clicks and for publicity or for politics, whatever. Again, I don't think I feel like Andrew Callahan, other than the clicks.
The most telling thing is actually to call back to the Tom Green episode, is at the end he just shows Joe the sign from 3 years ago when this was happening.
Yeah.
So this didn't happen in the last 6 months, 12 months. It's been happening for like 5 years. I think that's what people don't realize. But if you are trying to break in, look for the green uniform. Apparently, don't look for the yellow, because the Texans will fuck you up. The federales will hook you up. According to them, I don't know. I was there. And the other term that has been invented or is coined is military-aged men. Just to describe people. I never heard that in the last 10 years or in the last 5 years. I never heard that term to describe a person.
Well, it's someone of age to join the military.
Obviously,
18 to
but
40.
I guess you could say a drinking age man.
Commentators or people specifically saying it's military-aged men. They're just immigrants, men, women, children. They just say it's mostly old men. It's obviously it's to infer something. Oh, if it's true what he said about China, and I don't even know how that works, but if all their land they own is around all the bases, that just seems impossible, right? Or it'd be an oversight of somebody. If it's true, I don't know. But when he was talking about presentism, he was like, "It was another time, Joe. It was another time, and that it was horrible." And I kept feeling he was going to say, "And if I was living back then, I would be racist." To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I thought he was holding back from saying that, but
What was presentism?
taking down Andrew Jackson's or
It was judging people of yesterday by today's standards. So like Benjamin Franklin or any of the founding fathers saying they owned slaves, you're holding them to an unfair standard by the standard they grew up in.
I mean, I think you could probably judge it by case. Because I think you'll run into some of them where, yeah, they were just doing whatever was going on at the time. And then some of them where, maybe doing things a little more.
I had slaves, but I fed them and clothed them and kept them somewhat comfortable versus I beat the shit out of every one of them every fucking day. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And I hate to beat off a dead horse, but we're talking about the 70s when the United States is erecting statues of Wernher von Braun in front of NASA. You know what I'm saying?
That slipped through the cracks.
That's not going back very far at all. So at least fix that shit. No, but if you don't want to go back 200 years, fine. But go back 30 or 50 or whatever the fuck it is.
You can't fix anything because no one knows how this canceling thing works, because look at Shane as a quick turnaround. And then I think about Robert Downey Jr. I don't know if you're old enough to remember.
Yeah,
he was like the
hooked on
worst.
drugs, yeah.
Mug shots, broken a house, like fuck this guy. And his comeback was celebrated. I don't think Chris Brown has recovered. I mean, I'm just saying.
We were talking about tearing statues down. How did you
we're
get
talking
there?
about cancellation. Going back, can someone change? What is it?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any Chris Brown statues.
So
going
wait,
on anytime
I
soon.
have a question for you, okay? Let's just say your favorite artist.
Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Michael Jackson.
Kanye West, perfect example. Right now, Kanye's out there banging chicks. But 20 years ago, he was a pedophile. This is not true. Just throwing that out there. Are you banging with Kanye today?
His music.
Proven pedophile.
Like Michael Jackson.
I mean, Michael Jackson never was never apparently having sex with the kids. I'm talking about like proven. Are you banging with him
I wonder.
today? Well, I sure fucking hope not.
Simon, I got bad news for you. R. Kelly People still
Yeah.
play R. Kelly a lot.
Yeah, you got nothing.
When Ignition comes on, people still fucking.
He just told me you got nothing.
You made a hypothetical.
That's terrible.
If you found
Like,
out that Kanye West was a pedophile, would you never listen to his songs again?
I think if I found out that if Kanye fucked 7-year-old kids, I would probably be done with his music.
I don't
It's
know,
easy
man.
for me to say that. I don't like Michael Jackson. I've never liked his music. I don't listen to his music. You know what I mean? I would never buy a Michael Jackson album.
Listen, you know I'm not a Kanye fan, but when I'm flying into Vegas, when I first see the strip, I have to play fucking nah, 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 wait till I get my money.
And is that
I don't
like
care
the
how
only-
many
is
7-year-olds
that the
he
only
fucked.
thing?
I don't give a shit.
If he
Is that the only thing?
If he fucked, well, no. If he fucked children, then his music's no good. But if he raped a woman 20 years ago, his music's still no good.
I guess it depends on the case.
Because that's like what happened to Mike Tyson, who's come out of the ashes.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Well, he
if he-
served his time in prison. So you're
Yep.
telling me that Kanye
Michael
is
Vick.
going to go to prison for his rape? Because then, yeah,
Kanye
for
hasn't
sure.
raped anyone.
No, I know.
Exactly.
He's
fuck is
also
going
he's
on
also
here?
not a pedophile. We said that
well,
up
I'm just
front.
trying to make sure we don't get
This up and you're
sued
acting
here.
like it's a point to argue on. Like I can't defend a pedophile, obviously. But
Either
you're
way,
saying-
Simon, I think we've established from 5 years of this podcast that the three of us, you, me, and Kamar, we are all very capable of separating the art from the artist, as most people should be. There's plenty of art you probably respect that if you look back at the character of the person that made it, there would definitely be a lot
Beethoven.
of
Beethoven.
Sometimes I'm able to separate the art from the artist. Like it depends on what you did.
Beethoven.
I get it, but Simon-
had sex with children. You're hypothetical.
Did Beethoven have sex
No,
with children?
Oh my God, his estate's coming
Well,
after us
then
now,
I
too.
wouldn't listen to Beethoven anymore. Again, not a hard thing for me to do. Like,
No, it's not like you're really boycotting him.
No, but you got to think of something. You see, the problem is you're not hitting Simon's wheelhouse. You got to find something that Simon fucking loves and then use that against him.
He hates everything. He loves
Yeah,
nothing.
that's the problem you've
No,
encountered
I was
here.
trying to, because the presentism was more the statues and stuff, and I was just saying cancellation here.
well, no, I was.
Just doesn't work.
It
let me
was
ask you a
weird
question.
how we got there, but the statues is more interesting to me because there probably are some statues out there that Christopher Columbus. Here's a perfect example. Here's a guy we found out didn't even do what they said he did. So they were trying to laud him as this really influential figure. He has statues all over the place. Not only was he a bad guy, but he wasn't even the first guy to discover America. So he's useless. Get rid of his statues.
Or at the statue, have a plaque that says that and a QR code to find out more.
why? For
To
Christopher,
show how we lied to ourselves.
Christopher Columbus is a perfect example, okay? Because there's a guy who was horrible, so he should be canceled just for being horrible for the way he treated the people when he came here. But not only that, it's false history. He's not even the guy who discovered America. It had been discovered a long time ago. So
Well, Kamar, I'm curious. So you over simply taking down a statue, you would rather they just put up a plaque and a QR code so that we can learn from history? I mean, I get what you're saying.
go back to my last episode when I talked about Christopher Columbus.
No, but I'm curious. Like, I don't see the big deal in saying like,
I don't either. I'm just saying or.
yeah, sure,
I just
sure,
said or.
sure. Yeah.
And you guys,
okay.
that's
Well, no,
like killing children.
No,
so
no, no,
we
no.
will get rid of the
Hey,
statue.
I'm not even arguing that this hard. All I'm saying is like, Kamar, I understand there's certain statues where I can understand why people would be like, this one seems egregious. Like if you live in the South and you're African American, I can understand why you wouldn't want every
Absolutely.
park having a Confederate general statue. I get that. I understand.
But what if you didn't even know? And you were walking about it every day and you didn't even look at it. You just didn't care about history. And then all of a sudden you're like,
So why do you
traumatized.
care if it gets taken down? In that
I don't
case?
care if it gets
No,
taken
I'm
down.
saying why does that person care if it gets taken down
Yeah.
if they don't even know what it is?
That's what
I mean, listen, ignorance is bliss. We can all agree with that. But like we know, for example, John A. MacDonald was a fucking terrible person when it came to Native Americans. Native Americans have to walk by statues of him all the
So
time.
I think that Dr. Phil point is the statue is now like a, for lack of a better example, a Holocaust monument.
the problem is
No bad things happen, never forget.
Holocaust monuments don't feature a bronze statue of Hitler doing
that's
fucking.
very true. That's exactly true.
That's my only issue. I'm with you. I agree. But it's just That like if
So take down the statue and put up a monument to whatever
Hitler doing
that
that.
statue represented. That you know what I'm saying?
agree.
I
Yeah.
just thought a plaque would be cheaper. I guess that's what I was.
oh,
But
taxpayer
again, you
savings.
still
I like that. I
have
like
to
that.
stare at the person who did the wrong. Like I don't. Again, you go too far sometimes. Not you, the people trying to pull down the statues, and this is the sticky situation. Is that you give an inch and then they want to
course,
tear
yeah.
everything down. But if categorically we can, later in history we can decide that this person is shit, then get rid of them.
I mean, listen, the Christopher
it's
Columbus
happened everywhere.
The Christopher Columbus one is a perfect example of like that. Just seems like the straight goods. Like we were just lied to about how great this guy
Lied
was. He was a
to.
piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
I agree with you 100% though. They will never stop. You know what I mean? Like it'll be like anyone who has any stain on their past, take that statue down. Like Abraham Lincoln, you know what I mean? It's like this guy helped free the slaves and they could be like, yeah, but he cheated on his wife. So take the statue down.
So you just have to make rules.
We hate
You just have to make rules that state like these are the criteria by which a statue has to come down, and then you won't have that problem.
Listen, the way I feel is very simple. I think we deify too many people, too many statues of people that, I just don't think there's that many. I don't know. How many statues do you think there are in Canada?
Oh my
of
God,
people,
so many.
right? And do you think there's been that many incredible people? Like truly world
We should look
changing?
into Samuel Champlain because that's one off the top of my head that exists in this city.
Terry Fox.
Imagine.
See, there's a great
Terry
like
Fox
that's
is
a
a
statue
pedophile.
I can live with. You know what I mean?
I'm fine with that one, yeah.
And I was thinking,
Imagine if Terry Fox was a pedophile. What is going on
he
here?
started it. Is Rocky's statues all right?
Well, fictional character, probably the
So we
easiest.
should have a Daffy Duck around town.
Well, no,
to
even then
cheer
it could get
people up.
bad because what if someone goes and writes a prequel where Rocky was a pedophile? Rocky's early start. This is what got him into boxing.
I can only think of Terry Fox and Samuel Champlain. There must be another one on.
You can only think of 2 statues in Ottawa.
Okay, name 3.
Well, there's like Lester B. Pearson. We probably have every prime minister as a statue
Shut
in
up.
Ottawa.
That's a vlog.
We were forgetting too, like the War Memorial.
Go to
That's
each one and say how racist they were. Like that they're a
war-
pedophile.
you go to
Well, the War Memorial is a brigade of
sure.
soldiers.
Yeah, I guess you're right,
All
But I'm
those guys are
saying
pedophiles.
They have busts all around the War Memorial right now. They have like these columns with a bus.
Yeah,
Is
you're
a
right.
bus,
Those are-
Yeah.
is a bus as offensive
It's-
as
yes,
a statue,
yeah,
and
I-
that's why Werner von Braun has made it through.
No, Werner von Braun is a giant statue. Like giant.
That really is the crux of this. That statue. People are upset in arms, wanting to take down people that were celebrated, and they pump the brakes.
And
there.
nobody talks about Werner.
Well, that's really the issue is that you hear the ones that are, you hear a lot about this one or that one. And then you, like you're saying, you're like, well, there's a few that are so egregious that you just have never, that no one even knows exist.
Yeah. And there's never been talk of taking it down.
No.
Not that I know of, anyways. Which I find insane. With so many social justice warriors in the world, that nobody is out there fighting for the Jews on
Maybe
this
it's your
one.
calling.
Yeah,
in a couple more years. In a couple more
not
years.
for me.
Yeah, so if you're trying to sneak into America, look for the green jacket. Keep your eyes out.
Look for those former winners of fucking Masters out there.
Will you?
It's Phil Mickelson.
I don't know if this is true, but
Mike Weir
here,
just trying
come
to
here,
stop
friend,
people
yeah.
from getting in. No,
Come here,
this
friend,
way,
yeah.
this way.
will you use historically minimized?
No.
Do you think you're going to adopt that?
No.
Sorry,
we're
what?
old and we're white. We aren't adopting any of this
That's
fucking
what I
shit.
said.
Get out of here.
That's
fuck.
what I was saying. Like, my buddy was yelling at his friend who was leaving, like walked across the street. He said, "See you later, fag." Like, it'd be like, it was a term of endearment, obviously, but someone was walking around the corner. I was saying, yeah, you have to have an ID or something, your papers. They say I'm ignorant and just, sorry, I didn't make it. It's all right. There's no hate crime going on here. Anyways.
My buddy and I were talking about how much the world changed quickly, and we were like, yeah, it's crazy that like The Hangover, which came out in like the 2000s, paging Dr. Faggot. See, and you both laugh. It's fucking
I
hilarious.
still say it.
And then years later, Bradley Cooper goes on the Oscars and apologizes.
Oh, did he?
You didn't see that?
Well, I guess he wrote the line.
You
No, he didn't.
Oh, gross.
You want to know where my anger comes from with Dr. Phil?
I'd love to.
Joe Rogan should have him on once. If he's on once and you want to like see what Dr. Phil is about and blah, blah, blah. But the fact that this guy has been on like 3 times now, this isn't Joe's fucking demographic as a repeat.
Good friends.
guest,
He
you
wants
know?
to promote the television show, or I don't know what platform it's on, but
Simon, you're forgetting that this is a machine. A $250 million
I still
potentially
look
a
at
year
Joe
machine.
as a small little
no,
operation.
no. I think that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
I think we
He
have to-
decides who comes on.
Joe is someone you would not like to hang out with.
I disagree with that.
I'm starting to feel that way.
No, I think Joe probably, when he's not on the show, is a great guy. I think he gets on the show and he just starts like grandstanding these ideas. It's
No, listen, I think Joe's human. He feels a certain way, the same way you do, Simon.
Yep.
You just forget that like he's not you and you're not him.
no, I guess I would just like for one time for someone like Tom Green to say all that stuff and Joe be like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, he'd be saying I'm wrong.
You're right. I could still go to Canada and nothing bad would happen.
You don't want him to say you're right. What you want him to say is, you know what? I hadn't seen it from that angle.
Sure.
I didn't see. I didn't. Yeah. You know what? I hadn't thought of that, and you might be right. Maybe I need to
Sure.
revisit my. Sure. Yeah.
But in his defense, you should be angry now that we know what we know, that you had a government that made you take something that they knew nothing about, that didn't do anything.
Yes, I am. I am
Agreed.
actively still angry. Kumar.
Agreed.
That's it.
And I have not forgotten. And
But
you
hold
are,
on.
You were right.
His government did that too.
Yes.
I don't know how it worked there.
In the United States?
It was, I think it was state by state, like as if it would be province by province. We all did it the same, but I think he was in LA, and before he moved, before the shot came out, like he said, he was going to get it.
Kamar, either way, the point being, we removed travel restrictions before the U.S. You still had to prove that you were vaccinated, and you still had to have a negative COVID test to get into the States long after we had gotten rid of those restrictions.
Listen,
And the app that they used to regulate that was supposed to cost $80,000, and so far it's cost $60 million.
80 million.
And the
80 million.
company they paid got $250 million in contracts in the last 6 years,
100
and there's 2 employees.
you know
and they're
what?
in a cottage.
It's too much. It's too much to say, hey, that's the cost of doing business. We're just a country, you know. Someone's got to lead it.
I have no problem with anything you're saying. They handled COVID fucking terribly. They did in the United States too. Nobody handled it well.
Joe doesn't think America did a better job than Canada.
His one state that he fled to did it okay, I guess.
Florida.
So 4 of the fucking 50 whatever states. It wasn't the majority of America.
And the states that were like us did the worst. It's just that the data's there now.
Okay, we're in agreement.
Okay. And I think, so you agree with Joe that we handle it poorly and he resents us for...
Why does he resent us? He should resent his
doesn't.
own
He doesn't
He
government.
resents our
us.
government. He doesn't resent you. He
But
likes
he
you.
should also resent his own. Everything he's
does.
saying about
He
our
does.
government
He does. He
is
does.
true
He
for
does
his
resent our
government.
government. He does.
But he still tours everywhere in the United States.
Well, he's
but
an
he
American. He
won't
lives
step foot in Canada.
Yeah, no.
Well,
He'll
that's a
still
weird
go
argument.
to Australia if he's invited.
I
He'll
don't
go
know.
here
No,
and he'll go.
I don't think he'd go to
he
Australia.
travels anymore.
Okay, fine, whatever. Anyways,
I think that's why Joe doesn't talk about his travels often either, is because like you said, he'll slip away to Italy for a week or two. But I think
Italy, who handled the fucking pandemic the worst. They're the ones who started all the fucking fear mongering.
Who knows? He might have come
He
here
shouldn't
and
go to Italy.
hunted, not with Tom Green. And I would say this, I would honestly believe he could say, I bet you, he would think, and he'd be wrong, as Tom pleaded with him, that if I go to Canada, some guy at the border is going to, so you think because they can. If anyone going to the country, you could have a customs officer be a dick to you.
hold on, I have news for every single listener of this show. If you come to Canada, you need to expect that the Canadian customs officer you're going to deal with is going to be the biggest fucking cunt.
If you're Canadian.
Oh, it doesn't matter where you're
Doesn't
from.
matter who you
I'm
are.
telling you, as
And
a Canadian,
he doesn't want to do that.
yeah,
That's fair.
I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. I'm genuinely serious though. The Canadian border, they are the fucking worst on earth.
Isn't that their job though? just to be a total dick to see how you act, and if you're sketchy, you're
I'm
supposed to read it?
Canadian.
I know.
You have to let me in. You don't even have a fucking choice in the matter. Get the fuck out of the way.
That is funny. That is funny. When you come here,
what are you gonna do?
Your first impression isn't welcome.
No.
It's like, what's in the bag? Where you
Open
been?
your asshole.
How many people were there? How long did you stay for? Why are we going?
When you, as a Canadian, get stopped coming in from America, they're not like you're going to get in as a Canadian citizen no matter
My
what.
point.
No, you know what it is?
The reason you can't just drive through the border is because they want to make sure you're not bringing over shit you're not supposed to bring over.
You don't fly. You don't flown in a long time.
Okay.
They're not cool. Like,
They were never cool.
Well, they're an extra level of asshole now. Simon. It's fucking
it was a
bananas.
bit cooler before all the fucking rigmarole. Flying used to be, you could go to the airport, and is there a flight leaving in an hour? If you had the money, you could buy a ticket and get on that flight, like, pretty easily.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Whatever. We can move off of Joe and Dr. Phil. I guess my ire comes from the fact that Joe badmouths Canadians on his show, and then people think that we're all up here like a bunch of fucking sniveling idiots. You know what I mean? Unaware of anything that's going on as our government tries to destroy us. Like, that's just not how it is.
Hold on. I was just in the States, and I didn't get that from Americans at all. And I spoke to a lot of people that listen to Joe Rogan.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, I get where you're at,
I mean, it's
Simon.
a pretty small sample size, but
It
okay.
is. No. Simon, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just saying that from my experience going to Florida and speaking to Americans, I didn't get a whole, like, you guys are communist vibe. I definitely, some people mentioned, like, oh, I'm not a big fan of your prime minister, but I was like, yeah, neither am I.
I don't think he criticizes Canadians. I really don't. I think he specifically is criticizing Justin Trudeau, who's currently being sued because it proved that what he did was illegal.
I think that in this case, you are probably right with Tom Green, because he has to show a certain amount of, like, decorum. When he talks about Canadians and there's not a Canadian in the room, it's been nothing but fucking bashing.
But you take it personally. He's talking about Justin Trudeau and the government.
I do have to say this too.
No.
I got to say this too.
You want to make sure he's talking about you.
When Tom Green was like January 6th, when he tried to use that comparison and Joe shot it down, it wasn't. I get why Joe shot it down, but Tom was kind of right. Like when Joe was like, yeah, but they were like, there might have been FBI plants there trying to get them in. That's almost worse. You know what I mean? Like he was like, yeah, they first of all, they didn't lock. How many bank accounts do you think they froze? And one is too many. Don't get me wrong, but Joe acts like anyone who was down there had their bank account frozen.
Yeah, no.
That's not how it was. Okay. It was the major players had bank accounts frozen. They shouldn't have.
No, it was illegal.
No, people who donated money, I thought.
That's illegal.
Come on.
So the government broke a law
I realize
to
that.
try to maintain law. It's
Kamar,
There's no hope.
They do that
is
all.
happening.
They do that all the time. Let me give you an example. If a police
There should be consequences for that.
okay, so when a police officer, like I don't get it because cops break your
When
rights
the
all the time.
government breaks
That's
a
breaking
law they made,
Yeah.
it's the most unfair thing
I
in
agree.
the rule.
Yeah, I
in
agree.
the world.
Yeah.
When a cop breaks a law, it's more hypocritical. But
So I don't want to get stuck on this whole trucker thing, but let's say the rally was something that needed to be dispersed. Okay, let's just pretend that was the case. You don't have a problem then with like the city police coming in and taking care of that problem. Your problem is that he put through that mandate,
The Emergency
so
Act.
that the government or the military would come in and get rid of people. Is that correct?
and a federal court said that's illegal. You're not allowed to do that.
Sure, I'll agree with you on that. If it had been the OPP who had come in and done the same thing, would that have been okay?
You don't understand that they would have done that. They needed people. They needed thousands of people to get rid of thousands of people.
Simon, his issue is this. His issue is that they froze the bank accounts. The dispersing of the crowd is not his issue. His issue is that it was illegal to freeze
They were
Canadian bank
amassing
accounts.
people to do that. But if there's 10,000 people in a place, you can't get them out with 10,000 cops. You need 50,000 cops, or else it's going to be a very bad situation. They were getting the people, and in that time, the government broke the law. It would have been dispersed, Simon. It would have been dispersed.
That's what I'm asking you. You would have been okay with that? Had they waited 10 more days and accumulated enough OPP officers, provincial,
Yeah.
to disperse those people,
Yeah.
that would have been fine by you.
I guess so.
Okay,
if it's an illegal occupation, what are we doing here?
Okay,
I actually don't know.
Listen.
Listen. Maybe I'm the crazy one. I actually have a problem with them dispersing the crowd and the freezing of the bank accounts. But that's just me.
Anyways, that's the point of contention. I don't even know what you rate Dr. Phil.
I don't think it was.
I give it a 2.5.
Oh, I go to 2. Dr. Phil is. He is Mr. Mackey.
I give it a 1. This
The whole time I just
impossible to listen to.
I can't fact check anything you're saying, and I just don't see your motivation for starting this network. It seems like a lot of work. I'd play with my grandchildren and be happy.
Yeah. All right. We are going to take a break. I doubt there's a bill to pay, and we'll be right back. We're back. I'm almost certain there's no ad, so I'm not going to thank anyone because for once I did some fucking homework. Come on, name it a number.
2107 Billy Walters. You didn't love this? You were salivating?
Oh, I really liked it. I just like you were like Floyd is probably jerking off to this.
I said I imagined you. I didn't say probably. I said imagined you.
This is interesting because last week he was like all keen on seeing you and Mary have sex. Now he's imagining you jerking off. I think you have a crush on Matt.
I do.
Okay.
I think it's just because he's younger.
Kamar, when I saw this one pop up, my honest to God first thought was Joe's gonna ruin this. I was like, Joe doesn't watch sports. He doesn't particularly love gambling. So my concern was off the rip. I was like, how is he going to ruin this?
They're going to talk about COVID, aren't they?
Yeah, I was like, exactly. I was like, how's he going to shoehorn hunting in here? Like, I'm
going to learn about this guy's cars, aren't I?
I really liked it.
Did you know who he was?
Yeah.
You did know who he was.
Yeah.
I'll sum it up as I think he got OJ'd.
How so?
Someone didn't like something he did along the way. Because, I mean, this guy was 70 years old, like, just got out of prison. He's grateful for a life he's lived. But he said, I used to drink. I'm sure there's things I've done. And he got away with something.
You know, OJ killed his wife, right? And cut off Ron.
And then got off. And then 5 years later, he got arrested for stealing back his own stuff.
I'm missing the.
And they put him in. Someone got him for something.
Okay.
But because he got framed. You know, I
see.
didn't look in the case, whatever.
Yeah.
He got OJ'd. He got away with something or wronged somebody
and then they came back for him.
And he got OJ'd.
Okay, I see what you're saying now.
But I don't know that. I don't know if he did something.
Simon, this guy, I'm surprised. I mean, this guy had angles that I had just absolutely just never fathomed.
Well, how do you feel about him saying parlays are for...
I know they are. Dude, I've said that a million times. You think I'm a fuck... This guy didn't tell me a lot of things. I mean, I learned a lot, but as far as like that shit, I've said it a million times. I can give you the numbers. For every leg you add to a parlay, the house gains a 4% edge over you.
And now you just sound like him and you lost me like 7.
Okay.
I just know that 3 is more than 2, he said at one point. Just at the beginning, though, Joe goes, so what's it like being the most successful gambler of all time? And he totally had a spit take. Like, what are you saying? Like, there are no successful gamblers. And that's how I felt. He choked. He was trying to take the common business. Got choked. Let's not get it twisted. I'm a crazy gambler, but anyways, I just guess I saw that.
Gambling is very interesting because, like, it's never your money. Like, unless you win a fucking massive one, it's just more fodder at the end of the day, a lot of the time. And what I mean is like there's a poker vlogger I follow. His name is Rampage Poker. He's this young Asian kid, and he was playing 1-3 a couple years ago, and he grinded his way up to the big game at Hustler Casino Live, where he's playing like. He's got like 400K on the table. Anyway, the other day he posted a vlog where he was like, I lost 450 grand the other night. And he's like, I live in a $175,000 home. Like, he's like, I've gone far beyond my means here at this point. Like, what am I doing? And he said, he's like, I'm going back down in stakes because it's the neighbor's car. It's his Benz. He's fucking revving her up. Anyway, the point being is like this guy has more money than most of us would ever be fucking happy with, and at no point does he like, bank 300 grand of it for like his future. Like it's all
Like any
it's all
responsible
just
person
going
would.
it's all just going back into poker. And I get it because he's like, I'm good at poker, so why not turn the 400K into 2.5 million, turn that into 10 million, whatever the fuck. But that's just it's gambling, and yeah, it's tough. Listen, Kamar,
There's never one last hand.
Simon and I have spoken about this. What I should be doing is I should just be trying to win $500 a week. I should just be making 5 solid minus 110 bets that
Yeah.
I'm certain of.
That he recommends.
Yeah. I should just be happy because that's like a paycheck, right? It's a small paycheck. $500 a week. I'm making fucking $2 extra $1,000 a month. Like, dude, that's a down payment on a house in no time. That's boring as fuck.
But you win $1,000 one time, and you are forever hooked.
It's the most degenerate.
You know what the thing?
Because the rush of the wind grows as well, which you don't anticipate. And that's
You know what the thing is that our society is so much more addictive now than it used to be. I can totally see why gambling is just out of control now, and like it's the same way people are addicted to Instagram or addicted to cigarettes or addicted to anything, right? Like we're just
because it crosses over. Because China is a huge gambler. Australians, huge. Every bar has slot machines in it.
People like gambling.
Everywhere.
Money won is twice as sweet
It's
as
like
money earned.
pornography. It's just it's another degeneracy. I don't know how to explain it. But the one thing I wanted Joe to ask was who is making these lines. Just to explain that a little more, because he referred to it a lot.
Well, there's bookmakers. There's like 5 giant bookmakers.
Or is it every single casino?
No, they take their line from these 5 like Pinnacle.
No, I don't think so.
really
telling you,
so
I
like
don't
if
think
you're
so.
betting a basketball game,
Yeah.
every single site will have the same line.
No.
I think every
So
single
they're making their own lines.
Every single sports bets makes it own line. You think there's the department of lines? No, don't laugh like that. Don't laugh like that. Don't laugh like that. Don't laugh like that.
Yeah, it
Don't
wasn't
laugh
that
like
funny.
Don't laugh like that. But
No, look it up. There's like 5 massive bookmakers in the world. Listen.
I don't want to look it up because Joe should have asked him because it was a constant in.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. Each fucking book, Kamar, wants to entice you over. Like there's a website you can go to
And
right.
each book is a casino.
Yes. There's a website you can go to right now where you can look up every single bet, every line, and it'll tell you across each website what they're offering it at. And that's a website you should use if you're betting single bets because you can find the best money. And if you can get a 5% edge, that's huge. So like, let's say you're looking for, I don't know, Tyrese Halliburton over 12.5 assists, right? If you can find it.
I love how you tried to ebonics it for Simon there.
No, he was telling me something I knew.
Exactly.
I don't think that's you.
My point though
So
is,
you know what I mean, using language in class to be cool and to get through to people.
my point remains that if you can get it for 11.5, you're getting a fucking huge advantage if it's the same price, or if you can get it for a better price.
That's what he said too.
Yeah, and I'm not kidding. I think
But that's boring, is what you said.
oh yeah, Pinnacle is the biggest odds maker in the world. A lot of people, that's what a lot of casinos use.
I think every sports bet makes their own sports bet.
I think every sports book makes their own line.
Yeah. And now I would like to know: is it 300 people? Is it 2 people? I'd like to know that.
Is it a computer?
Is it?
Of course, it's a
monolith?
computer.
It's a
So
person.
it's not even 2 people. It's a
it's-
program.
Someone's got to be involved with pressing the button. To
I
spit out
imagine
the
that
shit.
each place has like a guy, and he goes through and he decides the lines.
No,
You know.
listen, you're also
And
forgetting.
he's just shaking
you guys are
monkey
fucking
bones
nuts.
No,
over rose
he has
petals.
his own system. I don't know what it is.
It has to be a computer because it has to move the line when the money goes a certain way because it has to hedge itself.
Yeah, I agree that a computer will take over from there, but to set the original line, that's all human.
No, I'm telling you, they look at these 5 bookmakers and then they do make their own odds, of course. But what I'm saying is there is 5 giant bookmakers on earth that set the odds for most things.
This will remain to be what you think and what we wonder.
But Simon, this guy had angles that that I think you need to take into account. They don't work for basketball, but for football, for example, let's say you're looking at stats from the last 5 games. Like he made a great point where he's like, Brandon Ayuk makes a crazy helmet catch that he should never make. and get 60 yards out of it, you're going to look back, having not watched that game, and you're going to go, oh, Brandon Ayuk put up 80, not knowing that one of them was like a fluke catch. That's an angle that I fucking absolutely never.
That's why I can't bet football, because it's just, I don't understand a way to go at it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, as he emphasized, no one really understands how to go at it.
Yeah,
because
true.
they don't have to disclose
Yeah.
anything. And that was his point. I mean, he said what you said. You just got to bet straight up on the best thing, and you want to get you want to get the like you bet 100, you get 50 back, or something like that, right? Or 60 back, whatever that is.
If you have enough money, then that shitty, close bet, fine, you're putting down $1 million to win
500K.
whatever. It's still a lot of money, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would imagine that you get your rush that way.
But it's way more of a rush to just double that money,
Of course.
or to triple that money.
It's not that it's way more.
Or to quadruple that money.
Or it's not that it's way more of a rush. It's that I don't like being in a position where it's like you were talking about roulette earlier. I don't like being in a position where I'm risking 100 to win 50. It doesn't seem like the juice doesn't seem like it's worth the squeeze to
But
me.
it is incrementally. I mean, you must admit that's a classic way to build a bankroll.
Yes and no, though. This is what you don't realize is that, like, let's use roulette as the example, okay? You want to do your thing where you're betting 2 of the dozens.
Oh,
right?
no, man. That's not my thing. I was just trying
Whatever.
to get you off my
Sure.
scent. I'm into the Fibonacci now.
Sure. I'm into the Fibonacci.
Not cheap.
The point is very simple. It can hit the one you don't want it to hit 6 times in a row. There's nothing saying that. And then you've lost. Same thing with a minus 150. Let's say you're taking like, oh my God, I took a basketball favor that's like a minus 250. It's a lock. Nothing is a fucking lock.
Nothing is a lock. Those are locks more than they're not. I don't even know. We didn't get to the bottom of it.
Drive this forward.
Wrap it up. If you hit a 0, are you like, that's an omen, I'm out? Or is it like, it can't get worse than this?
Oh, you're saying if I'm betting the outside and hit 0?
You're playing your game. Because very few people play 0. So commonly, any game you're playing, 0 is, never had a chance.
No. Is it? Well, for me, I play outside, so 0 stinks. But a lot of people play 0. It's like any other number.
I'm asking you, if you go to get your thing started,
Yeah.
and it hits 0, you're like, not today.
No.
Okay. He seemed to think that sports bettors would weed out cheaters.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because it's such a small community.
Well, also that you're fucking with my money. If this isn't legitimate, like you're risking everything.
If you're big enough to move the line and you're not legitimate, then they'll sniff you out.
Well, no, that was interesting that he was talking about they're actually at these casinos. They're at the sports bet, I think.
Sports book.
Or they live there. Like that's where they hang out. And he's saying you can physically see someone. Like if you go to a casino, you can see there's a culture of there that are there all the time. I don't know if you guys obviously know. There's always that guy who's got his amount of chips and never plays or something. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you don't notice, you're that guy.
Exactly. And so I think he was saying it's not like you actually see a person make a bet. Like that guy just did what? And everyone talks. But you feel like you're going to strangers, but it's so degenerate, eh? Yeah, everyone knows everyone in the casino. He wanted him to talk about Pete Rose. He didn't know much about that.
Pete Rose?
Is he a bad person?
Well, I don't. He broke the rules.
It's like when he talked about the basketball players that were actually shaving points or whatever that means. This sounds badass when they say shaving, eh?
I mean, that sounds way worse than Pete Rose just betting on games. Like theoretically, if all Pete Rose did was bet on his team to win and he had 0 effect on outcome, anything like that, I mean, that's kind of like what you should do as a coach, right? Bet
And
on
I don't
your
even know the
team to
rules.
win.
Are players still not allowed to gamble?
You can't listen. It's
No.
very simple. The reason they don't want you betting on your own sport one way or the other is that the sports books don't want it because you have a fucking huge advantage. You know, you have all sorts of insider information. That's why Joe was talking about the UFC one. The UFC one was egregious. Like that guy was on his Patreon giving out like serious insider shit. And people were winning a ton of fucking money. He was moving lines, that guy, just with his Patreon. So, and the point shaving, Kumar, like, that's a big problem. Simon and I bet basketball. That's a fucking huge problem.
If that's like a real thing, that's a huge problem.
Because there's no integrity.
And again, the ref that, like, Tim Donaghy, was that his name? I think it was Tim Donaghy. He, I mean, what he said was this. He was like, I wasn't changing the outcome of the game. I was doing what the NBA told me. And then I was passing that information on to my friend who was betting. So, for example, he'd be like, in the refs meeting before the games, they would say, you know,
foul Shaq.
Well, no, they would say you're going to target Shaq because last game he was hacking away at this guy.
That's what I mean.
Precisely.
Foul him up.
Yeah, and then he would go to his buddy and say, the league has told me tonight that Shaq's going to fucking foul out or that he's going to get in foul trouble because I've been.
Mm-hmm. But that wasn't the one, like the one they made the Netflix.
That was the one, yeah.
That's
him.
all he was doing?
According to him, that's what he said.
No, because I thought the mob was involved, wasn't it? Yeah, okay, maybe I'm thinking of something different. Have there been multiple times refs have been compromised in the NBA?
Well, in the NBA, he was the biggest one.
That was that one.
But keep in mind, he, like, all the refs that worked with him, like Scott Foster is still in the NBA. He's still a ref. Chris Paul still fouls out every game he refs. You know what I mean?
Like, crazy. How is he still around?
Dude, it's nuts.
Yeah, it is nuts.
Apparently, you can bet on other games. You can't bet on your own sport.
Well, no, but I mean, like, look at Pinto, the guy who plays for the Ottawa Senators. Something happened where he got 50 games for betting on, like, a different sport.
In a different place, because you can only gamble in Ontario.
And he was what?
He's from Ontario. He was betting in Alabama or someplace.
I mean, either
Hold
way.
on,
it's like a VPN or something.
I can bet anywhere betting's legal.
When you go to Florida, can you play Poker Stars?
Well, you can't play Poker Stars in the States, so it's a moot point. But if
there is one you can.
If it was legal in the States, I could play. Yeah, I could play.
But you can't play any online thing in Quebec or Manitoba.
No, Quebec has their own Bet365.
And if you went to Quebec,
if I went, like,
you could do it.
No.
Confused.
Kumar, if I'm sitting at the casino right now and I open up my Bet365, it will not open because I'm in Quebec. It
really?
Says, yeah, it says you're outside of the jurisdiction.
No way.
Yeah, 100%.
I didn't know that.
So that's something.
FanDuel, all that. Like Mary and I went and stayed at a cottage in Tremblant for a weekend.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a fucking nightmare. I couldn't place the bet yet.
I didn't know that.
And I think that's what Shane Pinto did.
He went somewhere else to bet.
Well, it got found out he even did that.
Anyways,
that whole thing.
I don't understand it.
Simon, keep in mind,
I don't know the details.
I could have probably set up an account on a Quebec betting website.
Yeah, you would have had to have set up I see.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that. Okay.
That's the reason Poker Stars sucks right now, because it's segregated to just Ontario.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting when Joe started talking about gambling on combat sports. He kept trying to urge that professional combat is better than all of the sports.
I mean, that's his opinion. That's fine.
Why it's hard to bet on it. No. But we've said before, like, if who am I thinking? Defensive end for Cleveland,
Myles Garrett.
I think he could go into the UFC.
Really?
Yeah, and fight Daniel Negreanu,
the poker player.
You
know what? Now all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, no, he could win that fight for sure.
Money.
I agree. Yeah.
No, Francis
Ngannou.
Anyways,
do you think Myles Garrett could fight Francis Ngannou?
Yeah, I think he could.
Holy
I don't
fuck.
think he wants to, but it's more like
I mean, he might outweigh him by like 80 pounds.
What's his name? Sorry, my bad. Billy Walters is trying to explain, like, the quarterback and the linebacker could be out. The guy switched, and Joe's like, well, no, but he's got more reflexes, and just how much more complicated or hard it'd be bet on fighting. But I think fighting is probably the easiest to bet on, don't you think?
Well, fighting the lines
Compared to sports?
To make money, you have to bet on, like, what round he's going to go out in and how he's going to go out. If you just bet straight up on
the money line is terrible. It's
garbage.
lopsided.
It's not even worth it.
That's what he likes.
No, I'm saying though, yes, it's easy in that regard. I could pick everyone and I'm going to win $25. You know what I mean?
That's winning.
The fuck is
but
the
no
point?
payoff. That's the point. You guys don't remember Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard?
I mean, I know them. I don't think I ever saw that film.
I remember I was 12 years old and it was showing everywhere. And I liked Sugar Ray Leonard just because of the name. Just in retrospect. And Marvin Hagler was like the meanest looking person I've ever seen in the world was on the TV. Like it was a big guy.
Yeah, I
ABC
was
fight.
too young, I guess.
And it was just
What
Sugar
year
Ray
did
Leonard.
you say that was?
1987. Sugar Ray Leonard
4.
was just a cooler sounding name. So
Yeah,
I wanted him to win the fight. I had no idea.
I always liked the
who was
Sugars.
what they were doing.
You were the what?
I said I always liked the Sugars.
I always liked the Sugars.
If you had sugar in your name, that was
And so really what the redeeming part of this podcast is that he got framed for insider trading. He explained it elaborately, like it shouldn't have happened that way, about some other horrible person.
You know what's crazy that just dawned on me is that people running multi-million-dollar algorithms can still barely beat the sports books. And we're out here just two guys with a fucking
Because it's
pen
fair.
and a bat.
Because it's fair. Because
Two
it's
guys
totally
with a
random
pen
and
a
any
bat
given
are out here
Sunday.
trying to beat them.
He realized in prison there's nothing for prisoners to do and has started vocational schools in prisons, which could be absolute genius because we're going to need plumbers and carpenters and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
depending what you do, I don't know how many carpenters you want walking around prison with hammers.
well, it makes
But it sounds
sense.
like the right, yeah, it does.
It makes sense. And I guess, like, let's say you're training to be a plumber. They could, yeah, no, that wouldn't work. Don't worry about it. Move on. I'm done.
And this book,
that thought.
are you going to get his book?
Yeah.
So I think the
The
book,
problem is you have to buy the actual book because I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of charts and graphs and stuff.
the book he said is sort of his legacy.
Yeah.
He realized he's going to die and he wants to release what he learned from betting and also to out all these people and talk shit about them.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of revenge in the book. And I give it a 3.5. I think it was horrible.
You gave him 20 minutes? That's what you're giving this guy?
Well, this guy keeps saying wrap it up.
No, I said my thought. I was just, and wrap it up. Like, we can't get stuck talking about fucking roulette. It's not interesting. I'm telling you.
Listen, here's a few, if we're going to close it down, here's a few good lessons that I don't even follow, but that you should follow when gambling. The first is obviously you should only be betting straight up. The second, you should never bet one-way money lines ever. Again, I always bet one-way money lines. A one-way money line is like anytime touchdown score because they're not showing you the odds on the other side.
Oh my God. Yeah. So they know, and
Right,
they know
they're
what the
just-
odds.
they're
That's
ju-
what he was talking about all episode.
Yeah, they're just showing you the one side of it, and they're
But you're not getting to choose.
Yeah, precisely because you don't see the other side. You don't understand the true fucking odds you're getting or the value
you
of
explained
it.
to me what he was talking about. Finally, I didn't understand
That
anything.
makes sense.
Yeah, right.
I
Like,
didn't know what he was talking about either.
yeah. So
Thank you, Matt.
you're more than welcome. And, well, the other thing he was talking about was the odds. Like the true. What he's saying is they might show you that Real Madrid are a plus 100. Right. So you know what you're getting. You know what your shut up. You know what your payout is at that point, right? Or your decimal for you would be a decimal. So you see that it's 2.0. What he's saying is there.
I'm in depth with both terms, he said, but it's more like if you bet a unit or this, or you've bet $1 and you get $2. That's how.
Yes. Okay.
You
What
get
I'm saying is this.
$1.10 is the smallest.
If you see that Real Madrid is a plus 100, which means I bet 100, I get 100 back plus my 100. Okay.
that's huge.
What what he's saying is they're not telling you, and they're not required to. They're not telling you the true odds of Real Madrid winning, as in. Like if you knew that Real Madrid was only a 20% chance to win, you're not getting the right price at plus 100. But they're not telling you that, is the point he was trying to make.
Could you employ what he's doing in soccer or whatever? Because he's saying he sort of makes his own line and then looks at that, and where the biggest differential between their line and my line is, that's where the sweet spot is.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, soccer, like I see it all the time. where I'm just like, the odds makers got this one just horribly wrong. Like you'll see a team that's an away team slight favorite. They might be like a plus 140 and they win comfortably 4-0.
$1.40.
So how does the algorithm get it wrong then? Because I get it. If it's like Kamar and I saying, that guy just had an off day, you know what I mean? According to you, it's all done by computer. How does it become wrong?
Well, it's just using all the data. So it's using all the historical data, the weather. So it's saying, look, the last 5 times these guys played, it was a draw. So they're saying heavy odds on the draw. So they're not giving either side a real favorite to win. That's the other thing too. Soccer's a 3-way money line, and 3-way money line gets real dangerous because most sports are just the 2-way money line. You pick this team to win or that team to win, but in soccer you have the draw. So
the draw, yeah, that's like 0 on the wheel.
No, you have that in hockey too.
You can bet that, yeah, but most hockey bets are the 2-way money line. Yeah.
Can I just? I've thought of as why Canadians are so corny.
Okay.
What demonstrated the most is when Wayne Gretzky got traded from the Edmonton Oilers. We had, I don't know if you're old enough, but
I wasn't.
It brought the country to its knees. He's crying
It was
about being the first guy to sign $1 million. No, but if you look at what signing contracts now are,
No, but him leaving Edmonton was the big deal. The money was like nobody.
the whole thing was a big deal.
Hold on, let's just back
The
up.
country.
I understand that they won a bunch of cups together. Someone came to you and was like, "Hey, you're going to move from Edmonton to Los Angeles."
I'm not
easy. I think he was crying tears
We
of
were
joy.
so hurt. We were
I'm
so
not
hurt as a
saying
country.
it wasn't. He's an asshole for doing it.
No,
I'm
we didn't know what to do.
saying
We did not know what to do.
I understand why people got so emotional about it.
That's too emotional. You were too tied to one person. And as I was, I'm swept up.
That's how the game was back then. There wasn't so much like moving around all the
Absolutely.
time. Guys were
Absolutely.
playing their careers with teams.
I bet
and
betting would have been better back then.
And-
as limited. Imagine how limited it was.
they were retiring with the same teams, you know, like Mustache Man on Calgary plays his whole career with Calgary. I
Lanny
mean, I don't
McDonald.
even think that's
Lanny
true.
McDonald.
I think he started in Montreal.
Everyone has to go
or
somewhere in
something.
the end.
I think, yeah, they all go somewhere.
I mean, Barry Sanders is the best example.
But him going to LA, like LA was such a garbage team at that point too, right? He was just going there for the Hollywood lifestyle, which soon becomes like the flavor du jour for athletes to do.
For the longest time, though,
du jour.
the only way you could do this, would be to go to a casino or go to
To do what, Kamar?
to gamble.
Okay. Well, you can
That
go
is
on
a
your
place
phone.
you can do that, yeah.
No, but I'm saying the before
back
four
in the day,
times where
gotcha.
you want to go back to.
Yeah, the before
Just think
four
about
times.
how much access you would have to gambling on sports.
Well, it would have been impossible.
It was just
you
pro
had,
line.
you had to have a bookie.
A bookie, yes. Or I think they have off-track gambling.
Oh, that's just horse. It's usually
Horse racing.
track.
I don't think you could go there and
Is
bet
that
football.
and that's a whole other world
Yeah.
of degenerate gambling.
That's the
'Cause
most. I worked at the track. There's no worse gambler
The
on earth
biggest
than the
day
horse.
in the country of Australia is a horse race. They shut the country down.
I believe it.
Really?
It's the wildest thing. You're like, and you're that guy. You're like, it's a fucking horse race, guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, shut up.
Yeah.
That's sacrilege.
It's like an event. It's not just one race.
It's the Melbourne Cup. I don't remember. I just remember the country shutting down and
That's hilarious.
And like who died, what happened. It's like it's the fucking Preakness or whatever the fuck it was called.
fucking
But,
Preakness.
like this tangible thing that everyone's in on it. Like you don't know, and that's when you feel a cultural difference. But just gambling is entrenched in every single person. I wonder if there's any society that doesn't gamble or community. You know what I mean?
I bet you there's some form in every community.
Every
'cause
community.
Even at its base, you're just like,
You
I'll
can
bet
cancel-
you 2 fucking oranges that I can
be
kick this
canceled.
rock down the
Oh,
stairs.
for sure. 100.
You can't do that. Show me your oranges.
Yeah, that's older than
Show
time.
them. It happened. This is what I mean. I think that just goes back to like humans want to, there's a rush.
It's
to
our
that.
competitive
Yeah.
nature too,
Yeah.
right? Like I can do this. You can't. Oh, I bet you can't. Oh, done. Let's fucking bet.
Like,
There's-
Are You Chicken probably has pushed forward humanity more than any other phrase.
Yeah.
I think there's also a day called 2 Up, maybe, where everyone is supposed to go out and flip quarters, heads or tails, gambling with each other. Just
Are you talking about
it may have been made
Australia?
illegal. I think so. I'd like someone to do the research. Jamie, get on that.
Jeremy, can you pull
guys,
that up?
Did you guys used to play quarters?
Like with beer?
No. So we used to I had never played it when I moved to Toronto. There was like a school directly across the street from where I lived at my aunt's house, and it had this 3-stair and a concrete wall at the top of this 3-stair. Like we'd all sit on the 3 stairs, smoke weed, big 3 stairs. And they had this gambling game where they'd play loonies, quarters, or toonies. And the goal was you stood at the line and you had to throw your quarter and get it on the top step as close to the wall as you could. And everyone threw their dollar. You
Yeah,
could play
and
like
then you
8.
got
And
to
then
keep
whoever
the
was the
dollar.
closest kept all of it.
Sounds fun. Sounds like more of like that school type of game.
Well, I mean, it was the one Michael Jordan was playing in The Last Stand, but he didn't have stairs. They just had the wall.
They were just flicking.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, I love, dude, fucking
That's
gambling's
some
the best.
gangster street shit. Yeah.
I think Asians are I think Asians are predisposed to gambling. The hot take.
Just judging by your own personal anecdotal evidence.
I've been alive 41 years. How
This
many
is what-
times?
this is
Yes,
what I'm saying.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. There is. Listen, you go to any casino in the world.
It is predominantly Asian. No, but you're right. Maybe it is built into society there more than it is here.
I mean, Mahjong's pretty old. I mean, I guess backgammon's the oldest game and it's Arabic, but I don't know. I feel like
I mean, you can just bet on anything, right?
yeah.
Well, so this is it. Two Up is a traditional Australian gambling game involving a designated spinner throwing 2 coins, usually Australian pennies, into the air. Players bet on whether the coins will fall both heads, both tails, or heads tails.
Ooh,
Okay.
3-way money line. I like that.
The game is traditionally played in pubs and clubs throughout Australia on Anzac Day, which is their Remembrance Day.
I really like that.
So I thought it was silly that they had, but I think it might
That
be.
would make our Remembrance Day way cooler.
yeah, if it
If
involved a
they
shitload of
incorporated
gambling.
some sort
Yeah,
of gambling
yeah.
game to
Ooh,
it, that's how you win the masses over.
True. I'm in.
Yeah, as far as I know, they still do it, man. So
Interesting.
gambling is just part of our DNA.
I found this discussion that we just had very kind of more interesting than I couldn't
Okay,
understand
fair
what
enough.
he was saying. And I forgot to mention his wooden teeth whistle was like,
So nice.
oh my God, it was
was
driving me
somewhat
nuts. dude.
soothing.
Oh, he got a little fox news in him.
Sometimes
It was that,
it's
yeah.
nice.
And I was like, maybe it'll get better if I slow it down. And I'm like, no, that's just as bad. So
You know, have no desire to get his book.
no, I just need to stop gambling. I think that's what's
Well, that's
been
another reason why you
proven
watch
to me.
gambling to see how all
95% of gamblers.
If I don't win today, I'm done.
on God.
On God.
Oh wow,
95% of gamblers quit before they're about to hit it big.
Is that right? Oh, well, I got to wait then. Is that what the odds say?
All right, well, that's it. Kamar, you're done with them? I'll give it a 3.5.
3.5. I will give it,
I give it a 3.5 because I like the gambling. I thought Joe did a better job of handling it than I thought he would. He didn't like derail it at many points.
Just ask who makes the lines. Had we got to the bottom of that?
I'll give it a 2.5. And not just only because I found most of it stuff that I just couldn't keep up with. But that's on me.
That's on you.
That's on me.
That's on
I'll
you, fam.
I'll take that 2.5.
Okay.
What did you rate it, Kumar?
He rated it like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I did rate it, but I'll give it a 3, and it could have been way higher had they gotten to the bottom of
who
who's
makes
in the
the
Federal
lines.
Lines
Yeah,
Association of America for the Children.
Like I'm telling you,
that's you know that's what it's
you know
called.
how Matt was saying it's like 5 main lines that everybody takes their line from?
Yeah.
I imagine then that those 5 lines are 5 old guys and they just come in every day. They argue amongst themselves. This guy's like, no, I'm making it 3. He's like, you're crazy, Jimmy. 3's crazy. We're sticking at 2.5. Am I right?
Yeah.
And it's called the State of Lines Corporation for the Children.
For the children,
Ethical
yeah.
treatment.
That's right. That's right.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a movie made about this guy. That seems like an arcing story.
Yeah,
All
I
the
don't-
gambling
I don't
and
know
then
if
the
it would
prison
make it
and then
great,
starting
though.
vocational schools and getting out of prison. That's I'm surprised.
You should opt it.
I think you could play the transcript from this and put it into AI, and it would shoot out a movie. He gave just
Yeah.
enough information.
Yep.
Okay, final guess. 2106, Robert James Ritchie.
Kid Rock. He has a serial killer name?
Who I think, and I think it's fair that he could be called adult rock or adult contemporary rock or yacht rock.
This episode was the like epitome of cringe.
I wouldn't go that far, man. I can appreciate everything. He's 53 years old, so he's the same age as us.
No, he's the same age as Joe.
He's a bit older than us, but let's note that guys our age are way closer in common than people younger than us.
Sure. He was, every time he went out of his way to try to be funny, Joe feigned laughter. And
100%.
I was just like, this is like fucking pulling teeth.
He loves comedy, and I see him as the average American. He really is just the average American. Like,
Sure.
he's not as caustic or harsh as you want him to be, and the way people paint him as being a bad guy. But he's still like, when he was talking about just blow him up. If blowing him there doesn't, you blow him some more. And that was just like, because I don't feel you should blow anyone up. Oh, have you guys seen Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, we'll talk about it in the post, Joe, so it's not so boring. Tom Petty's weed dealer, and he didn't know that Tom Petty died of fentanyl. Weird thing.
Fentanyl laced weed?
No,
No, I think he was doing painkillers.
No, I know.
he got him weed. His take on the Bud Light thing sort of makes it all right, you know?
What do you mean?
He didn't get up and say, fuck this, it ends today. He was like, I guess he was like, fuck this, it ends today, but wasn't like, I'm making a statement. Or that's what he has said in his defense.
What are you saying?
The Bud Light, they talked about the Bud Light incident.
Yeah.
Which is,
But he did kind of make a statement. He was like, he tried to make it seem like he didn't, but he was like, I mean, whatever. I just got a bunch of friends together with some Bud Light, and we shot it with my MP5. Like,
but I'm still drinking Bud Light. I still talk to the Bud Light guys.
Well,
he's
that
drinking
was
Bud Light
later.
because they sent him pallets of Bud Light.
And you know that means, because he took that Bud Light, it actually means that he needs to disclose when he goes on, because he is now working for Bud Light by accepting.
And there was a
those
moment
pallets.
when he said, let's start drinking. And Joe grabs some Bud Lights. And he's like, we're not going to drink these on air, are we?
I thought that was crazy.
I thought
How
it was crazy
Joe
too.
totally pushed him on, because had he put up a stink, it would have just looked bad. You know what I mean? So he had to just go with the flow.
I think it also shows you that Bud Light at the end of the day probably didn't lose anything. Like Joe was like, they lost $27 billion.
Someone lost their job.
Well,
Sure.
what do you mean they didn't lose anything?
I mean, the stock is like, they ended up sending Kid Rock 2 pallets of Bud Light. That's a thank you for free publicity. I know it looks bad because it's like, oh, our stock took a dip. I guarantee you someone benefited from that. Yeah, someone lost their job. Someone always fucking loses their job. They probably bought back so much of their fucking stock when it dipped. And it's probably going to shoot back up in the next year, and it'll be right back to where it was, and then somehow they all got richer. Why would they send this guy a fucking 2 pallets of Bud Light? That's a thank you. That's what they do when someone gives them publicity.
Yeah, I mean,
If we had a viral video right now that got 50 million views and we had Bud Light in it, they'd be sending us fucking pallets of beer too. And why do you think they'd be doing that? Because it's free publicity.
yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think it's probably a little deeper than that, but
What did you call it? You had a word for it. The Papa John's, the
Buy in the dip.
yeah.
Of course, yeah.
But you had a word for it.
It wasn't mine. It was
someone else. Yeah, sure.
Anthony Cumia said that.
It was like
Panic buying
race
or
vesting or something like that. I can't remember what it was
crisis
exactly.
vesting.
Sure.
Something like that. When everything drops. I'll tell you something. I'll say it for the post, Joe. I won't remember it.
He goes dippity. He made a noise.
Oh, God. Trump
Chat, tell us what you think about Kamar's glasses.
Trump did expose the media for lying.
Okay.
Like everything he said is fake news, and it's now a trope and a meme. At the end of the day, he was telling the truth.
I feel like Jon Stewart was doing that for 15 years before Trump, but that's fine.
Still, well, no, but what should be taken away from that now, looking back, is even though everyone's like, he's just saying fake news, he was actually saying fake news, and the news was actually fake.
It is interesting what he's saying, because I'll tell you, even with me, at the beginning, when Trump said fake news, I thought he was just being
Trump.
superfluous. You
Yes,
know what
yes,
I mean?
yes,
He
yes,
was
yes.
like, that's not the word. He was being like glib.
Sure.
But no, he was actually saying, I'm not going to give you a statement because you're just going to spin it, you know? Yeah, no, look, in retrospect, Kamar, there are some things we can say about Trump that were not terrible.
Wow, that's a glowing endorsement.
I think so.
And then at one point he said, "Are you a conspiracy theorist?" And
Yes.
Joe was like, "You better fucking believe I'm a conspiracy theorist," which makes you think, and I think this is what upsets you, is that Joe is actually a professional broadcaster. Like I'm sure he's not 100%. This is what I actually think. This is what I actually know.
I wonder.
I think they all are. And I think that's part of it.
If he is a conspiracy theorist, he has certain conspiracies that he's part of, but like he's not Mocha.
Oh my God.
You
It's
know?
been like 2 years.
The first
even
rule
remember
of,
what mocha
the
stands
first rule of
for.
mocha is submitting you don't know what mocha is.
multi-optional conspiracy advocate.
Okay.
Kid Rock has been to Bohemian Grove and got kicked
Yeah,
out for punching
so
a guy
that
who was a
was
plant.
fucking crazy. Where Joe's like goes to tell his Bohemian Rhapsody story again, and Kid Rock says that he's actually been there as a guest.
And said it ain't that cool, but then went on to describe how super cool it is.
So Kamar, as Kid Rock is describing that, having to stay in the cabin, no cell phones, blah, 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 it's exactly like that episode of Billions.
Of course.
Exactly.
I
like,
think the reason why we like that show is it's got to be based on facts.
well, they obviously
No
had
knowledge.
some inside knowledge.
There's
there,
thousands
yeah.
of people. If
Yeah,
Kid
yeah,
Rock
it's
is
true.
getting to Bohemian Grove, someone else has gone there. I mean, who knows how
It's true.
depth it goes, but
it doesn't even seem like a secret thing anymore, right?
No, now they're just bringing people out there for tours.
It seems
No,
like
it's an exclusive
What's the other thing that happens in the desert there?
Burning Man.
Yeah, it's just another Burning Man, but for old people.
It's Burning Man for politicians.
it is what it is. But just the way he said it ain't that cool. You know, I
And then
want
he
to go back.
fought some
and then I'm
kid
playing
there?
guitar for them like this like dance monkey and there's all this.
I didn't
things.
even
We got personal
understand that
chefs.
story. He
No, it
fought
was
some
very
guy.
vague. It
Why
was
did
very
he
strange.
fight the guy? What was the guy saying?
the guy-
Bad things against the Grove?
I don't know. We were by the fire. I might have been drunk. I might have punched him in the face for no reason. Who knows? What done is done. It turned out he was an infiltrator. It
mean-
was probably the guy that broke in and did the story, John Ronson.
20 minutes before. 20 minutes
It
before
was
that.
Alex Jones.
20 minutes before that, he did say, he was like, yeah, I get pretty fired up and I like to just fight random people. He did say that. So, you know.
And this is, I mean, he was on here to say get in shape. Like even Kid Rock has realized you got to be.
He could have
smart.
been part of the greatest celebrity fighting of all time.
Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee,
Not
yeah.
discussed. That's a glaring omission.
Did
from this
they
podcast.
fight?
Nope. And Joe was consulted on it. This is, we love talking about fighting. This was not brought up. Big omission.
Were they going
I'm
to
glad you
fight?
caught that. I don't know.
I would imagine that fight. They both love Pamela Anderson. It would be like the Macho Man and Hogan fighting for Miss Elizabeth, but in real life.
Tommy
Well,
Lee just pulls out his big
Tommy
dick
Lee-
and beats him to
Tommy
death.
Lee-
They must both have huge.
Tommy
dicks.
Lee is coming to Ottawa in July. You can ask him yourself. We'll get him on the cast.
Is he playing Blues Fest?
So is this somebody else you want to get on the cast?
Well, I
they
do not know
announce
how
the
that
lineup?
happened. No, they've announced 3 nights, 3 bands. Apparently Nas is coming. That's what I heard yesterday.
NAS Nas.
The one, buddy.
No way.
Are the letters that spell that's fucking I mean,
The
he's played
Migos
Ottawa
came to
before.
Blues Fest.
Nas has played in Ottawa before too.
It just seems less. It seems more niche.
No, Nas is big.
Yeah, Nas is pretty
Nas
good,
is like the Kendrick of the time then.
I don't
he was
think
really big
you
in
would.
the best.
I agree, but I don't think you get like the same draw from Nas as you would from like Snoop Dogg.
But
You know?
it doesn't matter because it's Blues Fest. There's going to be a lot of people there.
I mean, listen, I have to agree with you there because Snoop. I mean, listen, my grandmother probably knows who Snoop is, right? Like your mom probably knows who Snoop
Yeah,
is.
and unless you listen to rap, you probably don't know who Nas is.
But Ja Rule went there. Nas is better than Ja Rule.
Way better, but Ja Rule like was more mainstream, I think.
No, remember when Nas was doing it with Lauryn Hill?
No,
there
Ja
was
Rule
a time
was-
when Nas was the biggest. I'm telling you.
I don't think so, dude.
Listen, Illmatic is widely regarded in hip hop as one of the best albums of
Hey,
all time.
yo, I'm not saying that he is not
But he also
in the conversation.
What I'm saying is Nas had some big, like some massive hits, like some like chart, not chart topping,
No,
but
I
he had
don't
some
think
big
He was
hits.
the biggest. He was the biggest. He was the biggest rapper in the world. He had a number one song.
Simon, his
Okay.
he had a hit on the album with Damian Marley. I Can was a hit. The one with Lauryn Hill, If I Ruled the World, that was a hit.
That was massive. Bond to replay.
You just went Jamaican all of a sudden.
Absolute tune there, man.
And speaking of MCs, where you put the Kid Rock, best 5 of all time.
Oh my God, Kid Rock.
You
is-
put Kid Rock
No,
as
but
the best 5
he's a
of all
rapper.
time?
He's in this conversation.
No,
of
no,
just
no,
people-
no. Kid Rock is not a rapper.
He would tell you otherwise.
Yeah, I think he would say he's a rapper.
He's not a rapper, though, right?
You know what's so funny, Simon?
He started as a rapper.
Simon,
He's an artist.
sitting right there listening to this episode, I had to stop the episode and have a 5-minute argument with myself.
But wait, just hold on a sec. The guy from Limp Bizkit,
Fred Durst.
not a rapper.
Yeah, he's a rapper.
No, I
He
don't
has a
think
rap song
that
with
is
Method Man.
not.
Maybe he's
That
a
is
scrapper.
not
Hold on,
the
hold on,
same
hold on,
thing
hold on.
It's
fucking
scrapping.
hip hop. It's not the same thing.
Fred Durst has a rap song that was produced by DJ Premier where Method Man and him rap together. So I have a tough time being like Fred Durst is
So Fred Durst did a rap song. He was part of a rock band,
rock rap,
rock alternative rap.
rock
Rap, I guess. But listen, have any rock rap bands ever been good?
Linkin
This is
Park?
something people dub.
Terrible.
Yeah, this is a genre that people dub themselves.
Not your taste, but they were huge.
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't hold up
it
as
has
good
to
music.
matter.
It doesn't
It
hold up
has
as good
to matter.
music.
No. Linkin Park has one banger.
One thing. Oh,
No, it's garbage.
5 more years from now, you'll love it.
no, I
No,
will
we
not.
will
I can
never
fucking
love
promise
that.
you. Here's the thing. I disagree with Simon. I
Beastie
think
Boys. Beastie Boys or Limp Bizkit.
No. Beastie Boys and Limp Bizkit are two totally different
No,
things.
Beastie Boys, as we've learned now, were just a fucking total thing thrown together by people. Like imaginary figures. It just worked out, but they were rock rap.
that's a good question. Are the
For
Beastie Boys
sure.
rappers?
For
I mean,
sure.
I would say they are
I would agree.
some of the best.
Okay. Well,
And,
I mean, that's debatable, but
Well,
whatever.
Whatever.
Beastie
To
Boys
each
were
their
never as
own.
big as Nas.
Listen, Simon.
You're
Oh, no,
not.
maybe they were.
way
Maybe they
bigger than Nas.
No.
Dude, think about like mainstream.
They did go mainstream with Intergalactic.
They went mainstream with Sabotage. That was when things went like off the hook.
Pull
for
up the
them.
album sales. Lifetime. I'll do Beastie Boys. You pull up Nas.
I still want to talk about Kid Rock as one of the best MCs of all
go-
time.
Oh
No.
Impossible
No.
discussion.
He taught. I love Kid Rock because I love America, and he is the average American.
Because I love America.
He talked about doing a corporate party, and I love that we know if we had the money, we could pay Kid Rock, and he would go crazy for us. Because when he shows up, he doesn't want to do it, but he would do it, and that's amazing. I love Kid Rock. I love him. And what's weird for me is when he came out.
What do you love about him? Other than that, he's American and you love America.
I love America, man. I love big fucking Texas belt buckles and trucks with big tires. Like I was watching Florida before
You know
I
what
came
I
here.
love is that everything he loves would look at him and be like, I fucking hate you.
Not if I'm dressed properly for it. So there you go. Scott Whelan was it? Do you guys know who Scott Whelan was?
yeah, Stone
Yeah.
Temple Pilots.
He was one of the last crazy rock stars.
I hated Stone Temple Pilots. I fucking hate
Waiting on a Sunday afternoon.
And you're at a party with 50 people and he's just screaming in your face going full metal. But he was the last of the
Heroin
tragic
junkie fucking-
that I can think of. It switched over into hip hop. There's been
The guy from Blind Melon,
I was
big,
gonna say
he
the
was a
guy
big
from
junkie
Blind
too.
Melon.
he
I remember he
died
Same
before.
time.
He got arrested for in Seattle, he pulled out his dick at a show and pissed on the first 3 rows.
That's rock star.
What a strong. That's a
some
power
rock star
move.
stuff.
What was that guy's name? It's right on the tip of my tongue.
I could never remember his name. No way.
It's right on the tip of my tongue.
But what I was trying to say is when Kid Rock was hit here in North America, I was in Australia, and they didn't play him at all. Like you could see sometimes on a weird video show,
What year do you think it was that Kid Rock popped off?
1999.
You guys gave up on your whole Nas.
No,
Beastie
here, I'll
Boys
check.
thing?
I'll do it right now.
No, I think you're right. I think the Beastie Boys got bigger. But Nas, they both love each other. He was on one of their albums.
Yeah. Anyways,
They're all in the same gang.
sure. So Kid Rock, you think is one of the top 5 best performers ever? Is that what you're contending?
Could I even name one of his big songs? Like Picture, I do
White
like that
Trash
song.
something. There's that one.
I bought his album. No, I didn't.
Kid Rock.
I downloaded I downloaded his most recent album and didn't love it, but it wasn't horrible. But it didn't like move me.
Had you kept up to date with Kid Rock until this album?
The Beastie Boys have sold approximately 15 million more records than
15
Nas. Yeah.
million?
It's 35 million to 50 million.
3 against 1, that's equal, right? It's a push.
Well, I don't know how many albums they've each released because that plays into it too, right? Like if the Beastie Boys had 3 more albums than Nas,
Because that's just a massive all the albums. We don't know how many.
I bet you Nas has more albums than the Beastie Boys do.
I bet you they have approximately the same. I bet you it's one. I bet you one of them has one more album than the other. But I could be wrong.
I bet you Kid Rock has more than both of them.
Like how many?
Well, you know what the problem is?
How
Hold
many
on.
albums
No, the
do
problem
you
is
think
this.
Nas has?
Well, no, this is the problem is Nas. So Nas has continued making music that he has released to streaming services. Right? Like the Beastie Boys stopped making music when Yuck died.
How many albums do you think Nas has?
Eight.
And the Beastie Boys probably have like 6 or 7. So you're probably right.
if only we had the internet. We could look this up.
No, we're not going to check.
We're not looking
This is
anything
like
up.
the olden days. Jeremy, pull that up.
The most interesting thing I think I found out about Kid Rock is that he loves interior decoration.
That was shocking.
It was one of his
he
top
wanted to
4
redo
passions.
the lighting at Joe's place immediately. Like, wasn't sort of trying to put on.
So they all
to
functioned
impress.
off of one light switch too. Like
I just love the idea of Kid Rock going
On
into
the same dimmer.
every home and being like, no elevator, no gold toilet. I don't know.
You need an aquarium right there.
He just has expensive
he's just
tastes.
pimping
Yeah.
everyone's ride.
That's it. I can't imagine what his house is like. And I wanted to do that, by the way.
Well, no, I can because he was like, "No, Joe, it's not that big. The White House is way bigger.
1,500
You sound
square
an idiot.
feet. No,
He's not like an idiot.
15,000
It's not a golden shower. It's a golden toilet." Like, I don't hate Kid Rock, and I didn't hate this. And one thing he said was, "You just go away from the fame. Like, he's not crazy being famous. He's doing what he's doing." And if he's shooting that thing blows up, then it is. But as he said, there's people that will call paparazzi or whatever. He seemed very grounded in
Before he blew
Wait,
up
hold on.
the
the
Bud Light
yeah.
cans, I hadn't heard from him in a long time.
that. Yeah.
And what were his ideas for Bud Light?
Oh, that he wouldn't say.
That was annoying me to no end, man.
Well, he
That's
said
like,
one
go-
of them. He
go
said one of
read
them, and
the
it was
book.
terrible. Remember? It was the one where he's like, "I'm just shoveling money because I'm so rich because I sold out to Bud Light." Remember that was one of them?
No, I thought he was joking about that.
No, that was one of his ideas.
He had a lot. He was a bit bitty.
He was very bitty.
He does not like big butts. He likes big titties and a flat ass. He was married to Pamela Anderson.
How do you not like a big ass? I just don't understand.
He referenced
I like both.
Dukes of Hazzard.
But I don't like Kim Kardashian big butts. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's too big.
Yeah, I guess you gotta don't
Well, hers
knock it
is
till you
fake.
try it.
No, but I mean, there's like a point of diminishing return with the big butt.
On both ways, and no butt at all. It's crazy. He mentioned Dukes of Hazzards.
Yeah, I know it.
Hazard.
If there was a way, if
The Dukes of Hazzard.
That's what I said. He said hazards.
People are always freaking about OnlyFans and stuff.
Yeah.
But I swear to you, if there was a way that I could see Daisy Duke naked when I was watching Dukes of Hazzard, I'd kill my fucking parents.
Oh yeah.
I can't, like any of these women, had they existed in this time, the desire that even a desire.
I would shoot through my own parents' stomach.
Who was she?
just to
She
get to
aged
her.
so poorly, but the first time I saw Anna Nicole Smith, I thought about killing myself because she was so fucking sexy and hot. And I was like, I'll never meet someone like that. in my life.
Baywatch was such a crazy thing
And then I
when
met
we
my
were
wife.
kids.
Kamar, you are on to the best fucking business idea. I mean, it's not a business idea, but every celebrity, every female celebrity right now should be banking so many nudie pics and videos.
For when they're ready.
Dude, I'm telling you, for when they hit 60
In their
and
prime.
they no longer have it. Do you know what I'm
Get
saying?
on the phone. I know what you're saying.
No, but you
Say
knocked it out of the
less.
park.
Say less.
You knocked it out of the park.
Say less. Say less.
So you just release your old
Because listen,
nudies when you
Simon,
become too old to show nudies.
One of the yes,
They must be doing. They
Simon,
must be doing it.
One
now.
of the biggest OnlyFans is Denise Richards.
Really?
Yeah. And think about it. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, who wants to see Denise Richards' old ass
Oh my
naked?
Is that
No.
because of Wild Things?
But when
yeah.
she was
Well,
taking the
was so-
pictures back
she used
then,
to be so. That's what. This is what I'm saying. Is if she was releasing naked photos and videos of
and
her,
we were young, we were of age.
dude.
We're not creepy old dudes.
Like I'm not going to pay for
Nothing-
Denise Richards'
There's
old
nothing
naked.
creepy about that.
Well, but you're saying Denise Richards is OnlyFans is huge.
Well, I assume it's huge.
So
Whoa,
they're
whoa, whoa!
Yeah.
We're not going to look this up, okay? So don't get too serious.
Jeremiah.
Either way, my point is, I think that's brilliant, Kamar. They should all be doing that.
I'm doing it.
No, it's like freezing your sperm. Because you're right. Right now, you don't want to show those videos because you're rich and that would hurt your career. But when your career is done and the time
Nothing
is
to lose.
gone, yeah.
Nothing to lose. But I just
Like, why bother joining?
Freeze those nudes.
No, it's true. Like, think about it. Why join OnlyFans when you're 56 when you can just join OnlyFans when you're 56 and
I
just
bet
show
you there's,
old hot
there's
videos
kids
of you?
in school that log into OnlyFans and sell guys. You can hang on my phone for 10 minutes. Just go on. It must be crazy. That's a weird kind of human trafficking.
That is, yeah.
He loved Fantasy Island. He loved Silver Spoons. I love Silver Spoons.
Do you
Was
know
fun to watch or
Silver
something.
Spoons, Matt? Silver Spoons was with Ricky Schroeder. He was this rich kid who lived in this house, a giant mansion. He had like a train that he'd
Video
ride through
games,
the
a
mansion.
candy bowl, Sunday
He
bar.
was like Richie Rich.
Okay, yeah.
A real life version
and
of
he had
Richie
problems
Rich.
too.
Yeah.
He was just the richest kid in the world. He had his bed was a car. Oh my god.
One of my favorites was
bed was a
Charles in
car.
Charge
Yeah, the girls were
because
hot.
the girls were so hot.
Oh my! Again, if
That
when
one
I was
daughter,
watching Charles in Charge, if
and-
she had an OnlyFans, someone would die.
Alyssa Milano back in the day on Who's the Boss? Or it was after that.
Say
It
less.
was Amazing.
Say less. Or what about Elaine during Seinfeld?
I never found Elaine attractive.
I didn't then, but I do now.
I do now,
Yeah.
but I didn't when I watched Seinfeld. Like, well,
She
it
was
was
a
on.
crazy slut. You didn't think
But
she was
I
hot?
always found it funny. Like, I thought that was the joke. Like, she wasn't really hot, and she was always.
Yeah, that's why
scoring
she was
these
a
guys.
slut.
Well,
Yeah.
the three girls from Friends,
Oh,
You
Jennifer
see,
Aniston would have made a fucking
Aniston was
killing.
the only one I found hot.
Cindy Crawford. No, that she's before your time.
Oh,
No,
Cindy
she's so hot.
Crawford.
Oh, yeah, you got
Oh,
so
my
hot.
God. And
Sharon
but then she
Stone.
married Billy Joel. And
Megan
it all
Fox.
Went, that's way later.
Megan Fox, though, for sure. Sharon Stone.
Sharon Stone. Yeah, Sharon Stone. Oh, her roles were so intense. And then when she came out of Casino on the other side, because she was always a crazy, like Glenn Close. And what's that one where she's a
Yeah,
psycho?
Fatal Attraction.
I think that's why I had issues with trying to be with women.
Because
because of
of
that
Glenn
movie?
Close.
No, oh my God. I can't even, I realized the lesson I learned. Oh my God. Alicia Silverstone
Yep.
So hot.
in her prime, that 2 weeks.
Yep. 2 weeks. No, it was like 5 years, dude. She
Kid
was-
Rock admitted he's from an upper class family. Like he didn't
She
say.
started in that Aerosmith video with Liv Tyler, right? That was where they
And if
first
the next
got their
day I
break.
could have seen her on OnlyFans, they would be getting a credit card information or something, and it wouldn't be mine. And because
See, your whole banking the nudes.
Yeah.
People want to know that it's current.
Nope,
You know what I
don't
mean?
think we
Like
care.
Kamar wouldn't want to look at old pictures. He
Well,
wants to
that's
know
all you do.
that
Every picture's old.
you know,
You never.
I
see
don't
a
like when
picture
he
of-
does these
you never see
fucking
a picture of the
stupid
future.
No, that was great
semantic
logic. I
arguments.
fucking love that. I'm all over that.
But you say pictures. I think I need a little more meat and some video.
I said video too. I said bank it all.
Toys,
Yeah.
stuff, squirting. Whatever.
No, but that would be enough for you. Like let's
Yes.
say Pamela Anderson right now
Yeah.
as an old lady
Yeah.
released footage of her as a young person doing bad things. That would be good.
Yep.
Yo.
Okay.
Did my voice break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it had
Claudia
to be
Schiffer,
like
Yep.
Ellie McPherson. Like
Elle McPherson?
Elle McPherson, who Norm Macdonald dated, wrapped it all up in a thing that shows that funny guys get hot girls.
I didn't know. She married Billy Joel. She didn't care.
No, that's
about-
Christy Brinkley. Again,
Oh, that
I'd
was
love to
Christy
see
Who
that.
was the one in American Pie? Shannon Elizabeth.
Yes, please.
She was pretty hot.
Yes, please.
Even
where do I
that's
sign?
where, what's her name got
I
her
have-
debut?
I have
Tara
identification.
Reid.
Yeah.
She was hot back
That's
then.
all. She so regrets that she didn't do that because something has gone horribly
It's
wrong.
gone really awry for her.
Lindsay
Oh.
Lohan.
Oh,
I had
oh.
such a crush on her.
Oh,
Saved by
take
the
it
Bell.
Easy, buddy.
Saved by the Bell.
We're the same age.
No,
Tiffany Thiessen.
You're just getting so excited
Jesse
over
did
there.
it too soon.
Yeah.
You can't do it in a movie. It's
true.
You got to have full ownership
Yeah.
of what you're putting out there.
Yeah.
Elvira. Oh my
Yeah, Elvira would have had a massive OnlyFans.
And
for
all
sure.
these girls Kid Rock would also like. I like you said where I got
Nice
quoted
segue.
saying Twitter is gay, and I say no, I didn't say that. I said Twitter is fucking gay. They'll double down.
Did he have a problem with Elon?
No, he wanted a free truck.
Oh, the free truck. Yeah,
Which is just weird.
You gotta love celebrity.
he's definitely getting a free truck.
No, Elon would tell him to go fuck himself.
No, Elon watches
No,
the show.
he said he's ordered a truck. He's on the
No,
waiting
I
list.
don't-
No,
is-
he said
is
he's
it?
on the waiting list, but he said just skip the line and I'll give you my 100% honest review.
I don't think he's on the list.
How did my gold toilet get on the internet? There's all stuff was coming up. It's like, what? Who took that picture? He seemed genuinely.
Dude, it's like he's never had a woman at his house. Like, you're famous. People are gonna take photos unless you.
Well, and I bet he's done like tours for like MTV Cribs on there and hasn't remembered.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, MTV Cribs. That's a great point.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Great point.
Do that,
Everyone
didn't
did
he?
Cribs.
I like what
That's
he
what Red
said
Man's.
is the same thing that Tom Green said. He said, whatever my house is what it is, but I know it's going to be my last house. And Tom Green said the same thing about his farm.
farm, yeah.
I think that might be a goal for everyone to get to. Then they were joking about putting a helicopter pad to get to Joe's secluded ranch compound, and they went off the deep end and he found out they hate planes. That must have drove you insane.
That they hate planes.
Well, they're just talking about how dangerous planes are. Planes are celebrities.
I mean, I don't get on there, so I didn't.
Guys
hate it.
land the plane the wrong
You
way.
must
Most
hate
plane
it.
crashes are for human error. No, I don't care. If you die in a plane crash, that'll be remembered, right?
No.
Your sticker might be worth something. Then they started talking about the national debt.
Your
the same,
album sales will go up.
the same thing would be here.
Plane crash.
Like if ever, it's something everyone owes $70,000 or $30,000.
Yeah.
But it's not to. I didn't quite understand, but the national debt wasn't to China.
Yeah, it's to the pension funds of all
Anyways,
that. I don't
it
get
got
it.
very confusing. I'll tickle the balls. I won't suck the dick. I think that's, again, that thing to find out. You've got to do some stuff to be successful in the entertainment industry. Guns, guns, guns. People with guns telling you can't have guns. Yeah, that was where we got off on the wrong foot in the Tom Green one. They should have
That's it.
taken
It's done. It's over.
the military equipment from Afghanistan to Ukraine if they only had known. There's nothing this the biggest like, oh shit, if only we had weapons to do this. Oh, it was the hardest thing. Isn't that the wildest thing? Because they were talking about how obviously they were bashing Biden, to my chagrin. Throughout this episode, but that is the wildest thing. They have billions of weapons in Afghanistan, and you know what? Ukraine actually needs billions of weapons and resources.
Like, you can't have more. There's no way. This
Signing
episode
bills.
stunk.
Signing bills is such an interesting. Like they sign a bill on government, that means you're signing another
law.
receipt. No, money. It's money to enforce. Signing a bill is adding to the debt.
I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean? It's one of those literal things you think is just documented, but it's actually just a piece of debt you're adding to the thing.
I just love how the government has the balls to be like, you people need to be more fiscally responsible. You need to buckle down, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And then it's like, how are your books balanced? They're like, we're $42 trillion in debt. You know, you're like, whoa, well,
But we're going to double down
Yeah,
because
exactly,
we're the best country in the world and we're going to get it back.
dude, I heard the craziest thing the other day. This fucked me up. The Venezuelan president was like, he was at a Bitcoin conference and he was like, so why is it that you guys pay taxes? And he was like, they print money and they print money whenever they need it. So whenever they need to do something, they just print money and that makes your money worth less. So why is it that they tax you? Because they can just print money if they need anything. And I was like, fuck.
Well, they prefer taxing you whenever they need it. So
Yeah.
you can give them the more money they need to spend it.
Well, I've yet to hear like a good argument against Trump's whole thing about, like we're giving them $43 billion. What do they give us? You
Giving
know
who?
what I mean, whoever, the Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
What does America get in return for that?
Well, that might be the odds they're not showing. what they're gaining.
To bring it all back.
For the first time, I think ever, kid actually cramped up.
You think what?
He was like, "Oh, my leg!"
Oh, yeah, that was
The
so weird.
The kid cramped up. But as I said, I think you could change the name to adult rock or contemporary rock now.
Contemporary rock. That's funny. Good one, Tamara.
Thanks, buddy. He cramps up though.
Corniest joke of
I don't know
all
why
time.
I'm hydrated. He promotes his 2-day rock fest show for.
I mean,
Canada,
hold on. His fucking name is Kid Rock.
and he's 53.
His name is not Kid Rap.
Okay.
If he was a rap artist, he would have named himself Kid
We buried him
Rap.
6
But what
feet
about the
under that
Slash?
he's a rapper and he comes back.
Sorry?
Well, there's a slash. A lot of people have a slash. Rapper slash rocker.
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just
then he
saying,
would have
too.
called himself Kid Rap Rock.
No.
Well, his
That doesn't
name is
roll off the
Robert
tongue.
James Ritchie.
Which is a serial killer name we
RJR.
established.
Robert James
Kid Rock.
Ritchie.
He's a rapper.
RGR.
So he's a rapper, man.
RJR. What's his point?
He doesn't have one, as
Okay.
usual.
I was
He's just
just-
saying words to fill time.
That's pretty much what happens.
Yeah.
The first mention of Shane being on SNL is
Yeah,
in this
finally,
episode.
yeah.
And I think for Joe, he felt, I'm not going to tell anyone. I don't want to spoil the surprise of it.
I think Joe went to New York with Shane.
Dude, you saw a picture from Jamie Vernon, a young Jamie?
Yeah.
And William McGrummy's in the background.
Yeah. It's like he brought the whole crew. Yeah.
It seems that way. Joe's very low key about it. I think Joe might be sort of, no, Joe
this
would never
came out-
want to do Saturday Night Live.
This came out on a Saturday, and it was the last one of the week.
This did?
The Kid Rock episode.
No,
yeah.
it did not.
I mean, they must
Tom
have.
Green
Saturday.
came on.
Joe
Oh,
must
sorry, you're
have
right.
been
Either way.
offered Saturday Night Live at this point.
That's
I
an
doubt it.
interesting proposition.
I doubt it.
You doubt it?
Yeah.
I imagine he's been offered it.
You mean Joe's turned down?
Turned down, yeah.
SNL.
He probably gets offered it once a year.
I mean, you might be right. I doubt it. I don't know why. It seems odd to me.
How would they not
I,
want
I,
him?
I feel like that's something everyone would do.
I've been rewatching News Radio.
Yeah.
Joe was fucking hilarious. Like he really,
As funny as Andy Dick.
they work so well off each
Exactly,
other.
exactly.
They're both really funny. in
But
that.
Andy Dick by himself is funnier than Joe Rogan by himself.
No, Andy Dick is very funny, but he's way more over the top. Like Joe is so deadpan in his delivery.
And
that
think about those guys were at the equal opportunity at that point, and one went this way and one went this
Andy
way.
Dick was a bigger star at that point.
Even better.
Yeah.
Even better. But yeah, so Joe doesn't resent Shane for being on
I would
SNL,
love
but I think
it.
every single person would want to host it.
Remember
I
Andy
wouldn't.
Dick
I wouldn't
on
fuck
Rogan?
Andy Dick's pussy with Courtney Love's dick.
Hey,
What?
remember Andy Dick on Rogan?
That must have been way back.
Way back, right?
No, it's never happened.
It's never happened. I'm misremembering.
Mandela.
I feel like he's been on and it was a total disaster.
Interesting. I am remembering that too, Simon, when you said it. But Kamar seems to.
Yeah.
Kamar has a face that says no
Never
bueno.
happened.
Yeah.
I like to be wrong though, boys. So Yeah, I wonder who would
Number
actually turn down hosting
88.
SNL.
Andy
There you go.
Dick.
Number 88. Wow.
Boom.
I think it was at his house. Well, I know it was at his house, and I think that's what stopped comedians coming to his house.
But it exists.
Andy Dick.
It's out.
Yeah,
He said number 88.
Wow, and he really tried to suck his dick in his house.
Probably
my
said
children
something
are.
bad to his wife,
Where are my children? I'm trying to suck your husband's dick.
and she was just like, "Studio. It's time for a studio."
He talked about Joe's joke, which would be hilarious if the founding fathers came back and said, "Really? You didn't change this 15 years later?"
Yeah.
Like, we were just piss balling for a while. Anyways,
You remember that Family Guy bit where they're like, it's like a close shot of one of the founding fathers, and he's like, "I've gone over this document many times, and I don't see how any of this could be misconstrued." And he's like, "You don't think any of it could be misconstrued?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "The right to bear arms. It seems pretty straightforward." And then it pans out super far, and the room is just filled with stuffed bear arms all over the room. And he's like, "No, you have the right to bear arms. I think it's pretty fucking clear."
you could wear bare arms. It wasn't cool. Wow.
Wow, I hate Kamar is the worst.
No,
this guy's
no.
a comedian.
I didn't know what it was. I would have laughed if I watched it on the.
He's
See
like a
my
walking
best
Nanette
gorilla
over here.
chest.
Fucking.
No, I spoke out loud. That was me getting a joke.
That's how
and laughing.
speaking works. I spoke out loud.
Go where you are appreciated, not tolerated, is Kid Rock's. He goes, I am huge in Kentucky. I could just live in Kentucky the rest of my life. I just can't be mad at Kid Rock.
No, but again, I think it's hilarious that both Kid Rock and Joe took a stance this episode where they were like, Canada better get its shit together or we're never going up there again. Like,
Oh, I don't think Kid Rock's ever coming up here.
he said he wasn't even going to go west of the Mississippi anymore. Like,
Exactly. He knows where he's appreciated and not tolerated.
Well, and that's what Joe's becoming, and I don't like it.
I don't even care. They're both men. Who
So,
do
okay,
what
so
you
that's
want.
the thing.
Fuck.
If Joe came here, would you go?
Where's he playing?
No, I've been, and I've paid like money to go.
If you
see
got free
him.
tickets.
If I got free tickets, I would go for sure.
If you
Stop.
found out
Where's
that
he
Joe
playing?
molested children and got free tickets, would you go?
No,
Did I get free tickets?
You're a man of principles.
Where's he playing?
He's
In your
playing.
hypothetical.
He's playing at the NAC.
no, he
At the
wouldn't
NAC?
be. He'd be playing at the stadium.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be a good show.
he's
I'm trying
playing
to-
at the
I'm trying to
NAC,
sweeten
do you
the-
go?
sweeten the pot. Centerpoint Theater.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah, I go to both Centerpoint, and if he's at Centerpoint or NAC, I go. If he's anywhere else, I don't go. That's simple.
If Kid Rock came, definitely not going to that show. It's just not my.
He definitely
not
thought
my style of rock.
he thought he was going to get a big reaction from two midgets riding mini bulls, and Joe really just was not having that.
I don't know, man.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I don't
by
think
the way.
it's almost like you
That
have
sounds
to have a
incredible.
little person if you want to be on YouTube now.
You know what I saw the other day that looked incredible? What was it? Ice football.
With midgets.
No.
Oh.
So it's a smaller playing field. You have regular shoes on, not skates. You have regular shoes, and you play football on like a 40-yard field. You have to
ice.
Yep. You have to kick
with
field.
no
Yep.
like
no
spikes
skates
on your
no,
shoes.
No. You have to kick field
What
goals
kind of
too.
shoes are they wearing?
Just regular old shoes.
Like tennis shoes?
Sure.
That's impossible.
Why? You can run. You grew up in Canada, asshole. You can move on the ice.
If you were on like a skate on like the rink that they play hockey on,
Yeah.
and you were wearing your shoes,
Yeah.
you would not be able to run on that ice.
What if they're wearing like broom ball shoes?
those have like a
Simon, I'm not saying anyone's moving fast. That's the beauty of the
Oh,
game. Is
yeah.
it's like
Oh, I
it's very
see.
like
Gotcha.
Oh,
slip
we
and
used to
Okay.
play that.
Yeah.
In the schoolyard
Yeah,
when it's
okay,
frozen
gotcha,
over.
gotcha,
And you
gotcha.
slip and fall and eat shit.
I thought you had guys like full on running. That's
Simon, there's a
impossible.
compilation of dudes kicking field goals, just eating shit all the time. Just
Oh,
'cause
field
it's-
goals would be every time you'd eat shit.
Oh, dude, they miss them all the time. That's
In
why
order
it's
to
a
do it
great
properly,
game. Yeah.
you got to kind of.
Hockey is the
Double
hardest
jump.
sport though to play, right?
I think golf.
Just to play the game, you gotta learn how to skate. Aside from all the other
It's
stuff,
like an extra.
you know how to walk,
sport.
you know how to run, you know how to jump. All the other sports.
Yep,
you
you're
know,
right,
you-
Kamar.
Well, you had to learn how to walk.
Hockey's the hardest.
But you learn how to walk.
Okay, but you still learned how to walk.
Some people can learn how to skate before they walk.
Hockey is the hardest.
Hockey's the
I agree.
hardest.
You have to do two different sports at the same time: figure skating and hockey.
And like you said, he had some crazy Bud Light ideas, but he wouldn't release them.
Joe wouldn't share his either.
Joe, well, it shows that's brainstorming. They probably had to sign a deal there, 50-40 or something. Yeah, I didn't hate Kid Rock. I was actually pleasantly surprised.
Do you think Kid Rock was like actually already working with Bud Light, and this was all a ploy to get them back in good graces with people?
I don't know, because I agree what he said is they should have done some tongue-in-cheek, like, we're aware we fucked up, or we're aware this didn't come off the right way. However that is done, I agree that's what the normal response I can see.
But in order to do that, they would have had to
be anti-trans,
made
yes.
fun of trans
Exactly.
people,
Exactly.
right?
So they're still in a difficult position.
What's weird to me about Joe and Kid Rock, but especially Kid Rock, is Kid Rock will do a festival that's all about freedom. And it's like, we're going to shoot guns. We're going to do whatever the fuck we want because we're American and it's freedom. And that's what we fucking love. And I'm fine with that. I don't give a shit personally. You have freedom, exercise it. But when people on the other side exercise that same freedom, they tend to get a little bit perturbed about it. Like if someone wants to have blue hair and be a trans, Kid Rock has a real fucking issue with that. But again,
and I'll go one more for you. The festival those people put together, I wouldn't want to go to.
No, and that's fine. But that's the freedom. No one's forcing you to go to Kid Rock's festival or their festival. But Kid Rock, if he found out they were having like a blue-haired trans fest, he would be up in arms about it.
We don't know that.
Would he?
If he was-
like
if
the
it was-
whole
if it was-
conversation was about sports, right? It was that they.
Well, that was the conversation they were having, but he poked fun at them the whole time. You see what I'm saying? Is like the same way they poke fun at him and his crowd, he does the same thing.
I thought
It's like,
he kept
Oh, yeah.
saying
See,
like, I have lesbians and
Yeah, that
black
he gets to
people
fuck.
in my band, which you probably shouldn't have to say anymore.
he said at one point.
He said that a whole bunch of
Yeah,
times.
That was the best when he was like, so we're up on the front stage
Lesbians
looking back
and
and go,
blacks.
can you believe who we're playing with now? But it's cool. It's to say that the times change, but I don't think he was
times
against
change.
that.
First of all, if you want good music made, you better have a black person somewhere in the fucking room. Like,
I would say that's the only time where DEI is successful, would be in art and creativity.
DEI, diversity, inclusion, and
In creating art, you do want as many voices as possible. But in everything else, you want the most competent person as possible, the most qualified person as possible.
Well, don't you want that for art too? And it just happens to be
No,
gonna
art
be a
isn't about a
diverse-
qualification. It's
No,
you
you
want the best
There's an
people
emotional
possible.
component.
You don't want to just put an
I
artist
wonder.
in because they're of a certain color or race or,
Well,
or
you don't
gender.
you don't put artists in; they just come together, though, right?
Kamar, I disagree with you because we're at a point now.
The Beatles were all white.
Like I had an argument with a buddy the other day where we were talking about film and how just where film is going now, and we were talking about diversity, and I was like, me, I'm a white person. I've lived a white life as a white man. If I write about my experiences and I write white characters, you want me to change them to be black or lesbian, whatever, to make groups happy. And he was like, yeah, I think you should try to write a black character in. And I was like, but if there's no black character in my story or my life, you want me to just make one of them black? And he was like, yeah, I think you should to give like black actors jobs where they couldn't get them before. And I was like, that's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I don't agree with that either.
That's what I'm saying. But that's where the art, like, I get what you're saying is you want as many voices involved in art as possible. But at the same time, you don't want to fucking shoehorn them in where they don't go on.
I totally agree with you because this movie you got to see. I'm going to talk about the post-show. Bardo.
Okay.
It's from the guy that did Birdman.
Yeah.
You love movies, right?
Yeah.
He did The Reverend, Birdman,
Yeah.
The Revenant.
The Revenant, sorry.
Yeah.
And
I know
now
what he
this
meant.
is his latest movie,
Okay.
and it's all Mexicans. Like he's Mexican, so there's no diversity in this movie,
Yeah.
at all, and he's not glaring like because it is taking place in Mexico, and it's refreshing to see something not the token here or the token there is there. This is just this like you're watching. We have to watch the beginning of before the post show too. First 5 minutes, please. I'll give you money.
You'll give us money?
Yeah.
How much?
What do we have? We'll figure it out.
Go
I'll give you
on.
1 and 1. No, I love Kid Rock. You guys didn't love him, or I don't know.
No, this episode stunk.
but
I give
he's
it a 1.5.
cooler than you thought he was before.
No.
Okay.
I thought this episode would have been way cooler if they didn't talk about Bud Light. That just made the whole thing super annoying. But
And we know Joe's able to admit stuff.
I don't
whole
think I
episode's
would have
dumb. Come on.
hated Kid Rock being on. It's fun to learn about his fucking weird.
I don't hate Kid Rock. I have no
eccentricities
problem with
and
Kid
stuff.
Rock. I just thought this episode was fucking dull as shit.
It-
It was very bitty. Like he kept trying to get Joe to laugh. Joe wasn't really biting. It just
It stank because of the whole Bud Light thing. That was
Whatever.
Maury Povich.
What about him?
He's going to say names
Steve
really slowly.
Wilkos.
Here we go.
Jerry Springer.
I think you should have said Jerry before Steve, but fine.
Geraldo.
Why are you saying these names?
Kid Rock. These are all part of the makes of the American fabric of trashiness. Married with Children. All that. Kid Rock is just part of that. He's
I
like
see.
the
Yes, he's
king
like
of the
cigarettes,
garbage
apple pie,
patch
and
kids.
wrestling. I get it. Yes.
That's what
I
I wish I'd
understand
said
what you're
so
saying.
much
If you had
sooner.
to pick the most white trash example of America, you could pick Kid Rock.
I love him. Joe, the real life Joe Dirt.
Really?
6'2", I love Kid Rock. I give it a 3.5.
But like, did Kid Rock actually have like
No
a
fucking
musical? Like he was a great musician growing. I would have liked to have learned all of this. We got none of that.
No, he sold Tom Petty some weed, and next thing you know, he's
no,
a
he
fuck.
was famous already.
He
was selling.
He was
Tom
making
Petty
a
weed.
joke, asshole.
No, but okay.
He broke in when he was in 99, 98 and was just a guy trying to make rap songs in
No,
his basement.
I would have liked to have known all of that. Rap songs or rock songs?
The first song,
Rap songs.
rap songs.
But
Because
he's
he was
Kid
a rapper.
Rock. Okay,
It's debatable, as we've established.
Kid Rap. Let's do it.
Kid, this is Kid Rap.
It doesn't have that same.
Yeah, it kind of loses its Simon, what do you
White
rate it? I give it a
trashiness.
1.5. This episode
I'll give
fucking
it a
stunk.
2.
Wow, Simon, higher than me. That's incredible. All right. Well, if you made it this far, thank you so much. We love you. Maybe you're willing to go a step further. We have a Patreon. If you want to support the show, you can do so for as little as $5 a month. Head over to patreon.com/JREE podcast. For that $5, you get the show after show. It's the show where we shoot the shit. And you'll also get some old episodes of some old stuff we did. Throwbacks, this, that, and the next, whatever. That's it. Thank you so much for listening or watching. We hope you have a great week. We hope you enjoy your weekend. And as usual,
Keep your eyes